Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fabulous Tuesday.
A special one.
Yeah, there's really not much to talk about. We're just hanging out. Not going to probably play any games today. Just thought we'd catch up.
We've got so much to talk about today. So much to talk about. It's going to be so fun. We probably got a delay going on. It usually goes away in about 14 seconds for reasons that we certainly...
our voices don't line up to our mouths right now.
Still don't understand. There's a ghost in the machine. We'll figure it out eventually. We're running some tests. Maybe it was successful today. Maybe not. Probably not. We have... Pro Tour champion number 33, top finisher, and Pro Tour number 1 with a Zach Bunn. So we're going to talk about
we go to the 33rd place and grab that guy.
We're going to talk to Zach about the games, everything that happened. You have your Briar deck with you, perchance?
You know it.
Okay, so maybe we'll...
I can't leave home without it, just in case.
Maybe we'll look at your deck and do a deck tech.
Yeah.
As the fellas says.
I have many things to look at. Over in my bag.
We've got a number of things to announce, too. Some funny, most of them funny, and some very exciting. Most of them actually very exciting.
And then we're going to have a very long Wolfpack update.
We've got a long Wolfpack update. We've also got, we're going to go over your games. So I've got the blessing from Channel Fireball.
Yeah, thanks for letting us do that.
I wrote them and said, hey, can we use some of your footage to go over Zach's games and see where he thought maybe there was mistakes or great plays, etc. They said that was totally fine, so hats off to them for allowing us to do that. We'll be doing that a little later in the show. But first, 2 things you need to know. The first thing is... this started this morning because I could not help myself, and it is officially published on the website right now, which I find to be absolutely hilarious. We don't know, the fate of this kind of a thing, but in honor of Zach's top 33 finish.
Yeah, glorious. Hey, why is 33 so glorious?
Well, I thought to myself, what's crazy about getting 33rd is that it's 1 away from getting a PTI.
Oh, it's so
and
close.
more money.
Yeah.
And it's somehow the one place below getting all of those things.
I think the 2, well, really, there's 3 pretty devastating places, right? Not devastating, but it's just like really suboptimal. 9th place is really a bummer. So like 9th place means you don't make the top 8, which is like a lot more money and a cold gold and a chance to play for the, in the big dance.
That's a big one, yeah.
33rd is the next worst place.
Yeah, you don't even get to come back.
Because you don't get the PTI. Now
you're almost good enough to get back.
I have a PTI, but I'm saving the PTI for World. So a second PTI means I'm definitely going to France. Now, we still have the ProQuest season coming up. We're hosting one on the 4th of June. 5th of June is in Edmond, nearby, so that's a great weekend. Still have spots open for that if people want to hit 2 in the same weekend. But now, if I want to go to France, I've got to win.
You're like guaranteed to go to France if you get another PTI?
If I get another PTI, I was going to France. I didn't know it was
guaranteed. I thought we were still just like on the idea phase of this.
If I qualify in a ProQuest or get a PTI, I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
You just can't miss. Well, you'll know what by the end of the stream. You'll know why you can't miss. Like, I can't imagine missing a weekend like this if I have the opportunity to actually participate in it.
Okay, so is that good? Is that worthwhile?
Even at 33rd, devastating position. So like, funny story about me finding out what place I got. I'm in the middle of talking. There's actually a cool new YouTube channel, and I met the creator of it called Fabled Academy.
Yeah, I've actually heard of this.
Yeah, they did a really exceptionally produced video of their kind of journey through getting to this point. It's really cool. Anyways, I was talking to them. They're asking some questions about just the experience of creating content and being around for so long now that we're dinosaurs. But then someone walked up to me and was like, they had their phone and they were like, oh man, bummer. And looked and I looked down and I just see 33 and then my name. And they're like, I'm just mid-sentence and now I'm dealing with just the realization that I got 33rd. So yeah, if I got the PTI, I'm definitely going. But then the other spot that is also not super fun is 65th because that's now out of the money.
Sure.
Right? You're just on the bubble. That's called bubbling out.
Yeah.
And it's particularly devastating because the people in 32nd and 31st and 30th and 29th had the same number of wins.
Right.
It's just, it was like, and it makes sense actually. So the people that were above me at the same number of wins were like Yuki.
Yeah.
And people that had started like EXO. And all of their losses came super late, so their strength of schedule was super killer. But mine even, I lost the first round to get to the Wolfpack update. I lost the first round, so I assumed if I was in a bubble, I would be at the bottom.
Yeah. So it wasn't too surprising. But 45th in many ways is way more enjoyable than 33rd.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy
because you can almost taste it. It's as if it's as if you're reaching, and it's like, those scenes where you're reaching and you're about to grab something, and that something is a PTI and a wad of cash, and you close your hand just as it slips out.
Well, we'll get to how close I was throughout this stream.
Let me make this announcement. So what I did, because Zach and I are great friends, and we can have a lot of fun together in our failures as well as our successes, is that I put together what I'm calling the top 33 Zach Bun bundle, but it's really the top 33 stream bundle is what we're calling it. We'll probably run this for a couple of days or so, maybe.
Or until they're gone.
But we've got some unlimited Welcome to Wraith boxes in there. We also have a really awesome backlog of some of the rare promos that we've been like, we've had these for a very long time, back when Flesh and Blood was like fledgling and nobody cared about it. And we've still got some in the back catalog. We've been giving them out at ProQuest and random stuff that we've been doing. So looked at those, looked at Welcome to Wraith, thought, how can I make 33 into a theme here? So it's 3 Welcome to Wraith Unlimited boxes and 3 of these rare promos that we've got in the back catalog sent together for $233, which is like $5 over map just because I wanted the 3s in there. And it ships for free in the United States. And so what this is, I'll go grab it too just to show you. I took a hilarious picture this morning that I'm very happy with and gave everybody a short description. You can find this on our website, this little bundle here. So I'll just read it to you. I put this together today to celebrate Zach's 33rd place Pro Tour #1 finish. Missing the PTI by 1 rank is too hilarious to be sad. How can I resist with free US shipping and serious promos? And these do have an average value of like 100, 150 just across the average. If you hit the big ones, they're more than that. It's a solid place for players to get the Welcome to Wraith collection they need to achieve their own almost top 32 dreams at Pro Tour #2. But then, to be fair, let's pour at the very bottom. Let's pour one out for everyone who has been the first to bubble out of a top cut. It's an impressive showing, though. Really, we're all very proud of them.
Yeah.
So you got to have a little sugar with your salt there. Here's what the promos are going to be. So there's going to be 3 promos randomly distributed in these bundles. There's going to be one of either the Full Art Wrecking Romp Blue or the Full Art Blessing of Deliverance Red. These were very early, I think Season 1 Armory promos that we've still got some of. But then there's going to be 2 of a random assortment of the following. So you could get 2 of the same one. You could get your...
Random is random.
Random is totally random. So imagine all these promos, you mix them together carefully, and then you rip them 2 from the top in every order, right? Cold Foil Anothos, Cold Foil Dawnblade, Cold Foil Kadachi, Cold Foil Romping Club,
Cold
all
Foil
the
weapons.
first edition Cold Foil Welcome to Wraith weapons. And then hot Rainbow Foil Bravo, Rainbow Foil Dorinthia, Rainbow Foil Katsu, and Rainbow Foil Reiner, which you have said are more expensive than I thought they were.
Easy to come by, yeah.
So basically there's 8 options, and you're going to get 2 of those randomly. So again,
you could get 2 Rainbow Foil heroes, you could get 2 weapons, you could get 2 of the same weapons or heroes, you could get a mix.
That's right. Totally random.
Etc.
And so it's just a fun thing to do. I think this is kind of a theme now. We did this last time whenever...
when I actually won.
We actually won something, and that was a good bundle too.
The artist formerly known as ProQuest, the Battle Heart.
That's right. So those are available on the website. We've got a limited number of those based on the number of promos that we have available. So if that's something that you're into and you need some Welcome to Wraith Unlimited, maybe you're a new player, maybe you've kind of got the history pack going, but you want to fill in that Welcome to Wraith side of things, then that's for you. And maybe you're a new player and you don't like the white borders. The Welcome to Wraith Unlimited is still a great buy there.
Part of the journey today is going to involve talking about...
Let me go grab those.
Yeah, a particular Welcome to Wraith. I did a Welcome to Wraith draft this weekend for the first time. I've never drafted Welcome to Wraith. And it was incredible. But we'll get back to that part of the story,
a better story there.
Later.
All right, here.
What up, Shane? My last round of Swiss opponent. DM Armada in the chat. Hey, DM. Hope you're doing well. Hope that voice is getting nice and rested.
Here, check this out. So this is what you will get. This is 3 boxes of Welcome to Wraith Unlimited. This is not. We're not reinventing the wheel.
I like the visual.
Yeah. Well, marketing is about you're supposed to let people see and ideally touch things, right? Before you.
It's hard to do over the internet.
Yeah. So you'll get one of these guys, Blue Wrecker Romp or Red Blessing of Deliverance.
Does it come with the beautiful sleeves?
The full arts. No, these sleeves are totally scratched up, so this is not indicative of the quality of sleeve that you're going to get. These are my copper sleeves. And then you've got the Cold Foil, Dawnblade, Anothos, Kadachi, Romping Club, Reinar, Katsu, Dorinthia, and Bravo. So these are the rainbow foils down here. These are cold foils up here.
So 2 of these at random.
2 of these at random. It could be 2 Bravos. It could be a Romping Club and a Kadachi. It could be a Kadachi and a Dorinthia.
This is what you pulled out of your thing.
It could be a Reinar and a Bravo. You never. So like I said, it's going to be totally random. We're just going to mix them all together and then rip 2 off the top. So if that's something you're into, we hope you'll celebrate with us and just have a good time. And then if it's not, no worries, right? We don't. It's fine.
Also, on that note, there's a lot to say. I'll come back to it.
I don't know. Did people want this? I don't know. Like, I just made it because it's hilarious and I think it's funny.
It is so funny.
And you know what? Your friend's misery is the greatest humor in the world.
Now, I will say, as much of a bummer as it was to get 33rd, and that's a spoiler for this whole outcome, I still feel very good about the entire weekend.
You absolutely should.
Yeah. No,
and we'll get into the good part of it, too. Okay, here's the second thing you need to know that we're doing. So Legend Story reached out to us. They're great at this, and I love them for it. They wanted to offer a giveaway to some content creators for a Fabled event package for Vegas. Okay, now, before we get into this, I have something. Bryce told me that I have to do this.
You gonna time it?
I have 60 seconds because we're going to clip this and maybe post it to social.
I love those YouTube clips.
Okay, so...
All right, I'm just going to sit here.
So here's the deal. We've worked with Legend Story Studios to provide a Fabled event package for free for anybody who wants to go to Vegas.
Tell me more.
Here's how we're going to do this. So if you want to join this giveaway, you're going to have to go to our website. Special link. Zach, what's the link? Can you read it to me? cov.link/fabled-vegas. FABLED
I'm
dash Vegas.
Chat for everyone that's live.
You go there, you give us your name, you give us your email, you give us your gym ID. Once you've done that, if you have an active Flesh and Blood booster box subscription, we're going to reward you with one random person is going to get that Fabled event package for Vegas. So if you're planning to go to Vegas or you want to go to Vegas, you don't have your stuff bought yet, and you're a subscriber to our booster box subscription, enter that on that link.
So fill out the form. Either have a subscription or sign up for a subscription.
Start one or have one.
And we're going to pick at random.
We'll pick at random. I think it'll be about
what's it include?
Thursday.
Free entry to Vegas?
Free entry to Vegas. Go do it now. It's lovely. cov.link/fabled- I missed it.
Oh, you had 1 minute. Vegas. Fabled-Vegas.
Fabled-Vegas.
That's right. We said it in a minute.
I think we got it.
That was a good YouTube clip. I'm very proud.
All right. So, long story short, if you're a subscriber or you want to start a subscription, we're just kind of linking the two. So anybody who enters on that form, I'm going to draw a random email address, name, whatever.
Mr. Yao wants to know, does a Blitz deck subscription work?
No.
It has to be a booster box subscription.
Booster box subscription, yeah, but that's a good question. When we laid it all out, it was booster box, and I didn't even think about the Blitz deck thing, but yeah, booster boxes.
There it is.
That's the lifeblood of Flesh and Blood, So I'll draw a name. I'll cross-reference that with our subscriber database, assuming that those two things match. You'll get an email and say, hey, you've won. So free, go to Vegas. Zach and I are going to be there. I can't wait for this.
Team Blitz, man. This is going to be so good.
Zach's stories from Pro Tour got me jacked. We got a world premiere going on.
I didn't know until this weekend that in the Team Blitz event, you can talk to your teammates.
I didn't know that either.
Straight up.
That actually is stressful.
Like, you lean over and you're like, hey, what would you do here?
Yeah.
How cool. It's so interactive.
But then, like, at a certain point, does it, like, mess you up, right? Where it's like, hey, you should totally do this. It's like, well, but I was planning on doing this. And then your opponent's like, oh, my God, you planning on doing that?
I mean, not if you have 3 confident but also receptive team members.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to come by.
It sure is. Yeah.
I've never seen the likes of it. Okay, next up, here we are. Zach, general story of Pro Tour #1 from the top. I'm also going to read Matt Cole's summary as well.
He provided it was
incredible,
crazy summary.
Yeah, I'll be pulling that up.
So I mean, my natural way of relaying information is chronologically. I'm a linear story person. Some people are conceptual when they're telling stories, I've found.
Yep.
They tie themes together, and they do this category and this category.
Like good storytellers?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm a beginning, middle, and end kind of guy.
Yeah, well, that's a classic story arc, right?
Yeah.
Act 1, 2, and 3.
Hero's journey, etc.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Darkness.
So this starts in May of 1988. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Flew out on Wednesday to go to the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, got in to, LaGuardia, and then took the Uber all the way across Manhattan to get to New Jersey.
Was that an expensive Uber ride?
It was not cheap.
Yeah, they always are. You're never happy with it.
We got off the plane, and I was like, I think we can take a bus to get to the subway, to get across the Manhattan, to take a bus to the hotel. And we tried that for about 32 seconds. And then it was telling me to go across a street, but it was like the giant highway. There's no way across. And I was like, we can either struggle through this or we can just pay the bill. So we Ubered in New York traffic, and I ended up in the middle of the back seat, squished between Tim and Ian. Never again. Never again.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is this ultimately a Wolfpack update? Is this just a long Wolfpack update, or is this a Zach Bunn update? Or
I mean, it can't help but being all of the above. This is a long Wolfpack update all throughout the video.
Here we go.
It's my experience.
Yeah.
So there it is.
Let's hit it.
So anyways, get to the hotel, check in, etc. And then we're like, nothing's going on Thursday except for in the evening I have the players banquet, which we'll come back to. That's cool.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night we're like, hey, let's go into the city. So then we Uber back into the city.
See, now some other teams and players would say, we have Wednesday night, we better test in person and get ready for the Pro Tour. So why are you so willing to sacrifice your own success for living your life?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good question. It kind of comes back to the conversation from a month or two ago where I was asking myself on the podcast and on the streams, am I willing to play something I don't enjoy playing to increase my odds of winning or not?
Yeah.
And the conclusion for me was no. I mean, I'm going to play the best deck I can play that is also something I would enjoy, that I also, min-maxing all the values. So about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I just kind of assessing the meta and in our testing and stuff with the Wolfpack, decided on Briar.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked pretty early. This is the deck I'm going to play. I've been playing a version of Earthbriar since the Tales of Aria came out. That was like first card I saw that made me like super excited in Tales of Aria was Channel Mount Heroic. And I was like, I'm going to build that deck.
That's the Zach Bunn explosive card. You like that kind of stuff.
That's just the dunk on. It can be a Hail Mary if you're behind. It can also just end the game.
The great example. I see Dynamo and I'm like, oh my gosh. And you see Mount Heroic and you're like, oh my gosh.
It's like
That's a perfect personality test.
It totally is. Yeah. I saw Dynamo and I was doing my math. Yeah. I was like, well, actually, no, this isn't that good. Like, realistically, if I'm dropping my Heroic, I'm going to win before you even get any value out of that thing.
Right.
Like, what's the value of that? Anyway, they're both good, actually. But, so I've been playing that deck for a really long time. I actually played my Briar deck in the Tulsa Pro Quest the day before the Edmond Pro Quest that I won, which was how I qualified to play in the Pro Tour. Mm-hmm. And in Tulsa, I played Briar, but then Edmond, I played Viscera because, rewinding back to Tulsa, I felt like Briar had a better match into Star of the Show, which was going to be really popular, than Viscera. And she also has a really, really, really good match into Prism. So Starvo and Prism are like number one, number two. You have a deck that is really good into those. Her worst matchup at the time was Viscera.
Yeah.
He's just too fast. Like she
I myself have experienced those feelings before.
So after the ban restricted update, Viscera's I tested Viscera for about a week and he just felt 4 to 8 damage too slow.
Yeah.
Routinely. Like no matter who you're playing against, he's just kind of a turn off. Right, or half of a turn is the way I described it. So I was like, well, I could technically keep trying to figure this out, but Briar is a deck that previously her worst match was Viscera for me, and he's gone.
Yeah,
or he's slower at least.
Yeah.
Also, while I think she had a better match into Start of the Show than Viscera, that was also when Awakening was alive. So
she's jamming now.
Now he's even worse into Briar because she just starts slapping. And he doesn't have a get out of jail free card anymore, which he did with Awakening. That was why that card was so frustrating to me. So I picked Briar, and the kind of common thought going in, like it's what we assumed. I think Chain is the better / faster, more consistent Runeblade, just on the tempo offense. Like if you're looking for the red deck that is setting the pace of the game, I think it's Chain. And he's got the inevitability, and he's got a kind of a natural way around fatigue because like he can pitch stack the bottom of his deck and just build up shackles and stuff.
He just goes super wide.
Yeah, but in testing, what I quickly discovered with Briar was my win percentage going first was pretty high. My win percentage going second was really bad.
Yeah, against Chain.
Yeah, against Chain.
Yeah, I remember that.
So ultimately, I chose Briar, and I was already really tested in Starvo. I was already really tested into Prism. I'd already tested into Chain.
Is it the same Briar you were playing on stream recently? Did you make
98%.
Were there any aha moments in testing that you?
So the biggest aha reality is this is just testing. It's not really even an aha moment. But if you find a matchup that you are routinely like against Chain going second, I would get him to 4 to 8 health. And I would win maybe 10, 20% of the times going second. So then the question is like, all right, well, what cards can I put in that when I'm going second, they Hail Mary, right?
Would increase my odds
They give me overly high value. So one thing I was looking at was a bunch of Whisper the Oracle. This lets me opt. The way I win when I'm going second is an early Mount Heroic, and I'm just like slamming damage down that he has to block or he's taking a ton of damage.
Yeah.
So Whisper is great because it lets you fix your deck, right? Make sure you're seeing good hands or digging for Mount Heroic. It blocks for 3. Mm-hmm. If you have an Embodiment of Earth token, it's blocking for 4.
Yeah,
so
good.
Against Chain, it also lets you play defense a little better. Like you can prevent more damage, and if you end up in kind of a you need to fatigue him moment, it works there. It's a 0 cost non-attack action, so it works the Briar's ability really well. It sets up cards like Ravenous Rabble, right? Because you get to opt. It also sets up like your Gorg Tomes, and you go down the list.
We would later find out
things. Yeah. Yep. But a great example of this kind of thinking, and I'd lost to Chain twice this weekend. Spoiler, going second, not unexpected. But the card that I was late game switching into that I hadn't switched into on stream beforehand was Tome of the Arknight.
Yeah.
So this is one of those cards, if your deck is 50-50 split, the odds of it hitting is 50-50. So half the time you pay 1 to draw 2. And because I'm on a blue heavy earth version of Briar, I have resources floating quite a bit. And a lot of times I use those resources to like create a rune chant with Grasp of the Arknight and then swing a sword at the end of a chain, which is solid value. But instead, I can lose that 1 rune chant to maybe draw 2 cards. And if I'm constantly short 4 to 8 damage, one convenient way to get 6 to 8 damage extra is hitting 1 Tome of the Arknight.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lose the match anyway. I may as well take my shots. And in testing, it was really crazy. I had one game, and Matt Coles of the Wolfpack, he had a game where he was playing against Chain going second, and he plays a tome, and he hits, and that's what gave him the cards to deal the damage to win the game.
Yeah.
So you're just looking for outs, right?
Yeah, so maybe 5 to 10% on the matchup. Like, that's incredible.
And you don't, if you're already favored in a match, you probably wouldn't play the card because a 50% chance to just do nothing is probably not worth the risk. But if you're already losing, YOLO, right? Yeah. And that card also works really well with Whisper, right? Because Whisper, you look at the top 2 or 3, you get whatever you want on the top of your deck. Tome of the Arknight is also really good with Pulse of Candlehold.
Yeah.
It's like you play it, put Mount Heroic and a blue Burgeoning on top, Tome of the Arknight, you draw the Earth card and the Heroic, you play the Heroic, and you're off to the races. And so against Chain in particular too, that lets you, especially if you have that in hand, it lets you block with Heroic at 4 with an embodiment, knowing that you're going to be able to put it back on top and draw into it immediately. So there's just fun stuff like that. The opting is also pretty good with Tome of Harvest. Opt 3 and then draw 3.
Yeah, you were rocking those Tome of Harvest on stream.
That's
good.
That card's good.
So you felt that you had tested enough, and it was like, okay, we're in New York, let's go. So let's enjoy it.
And I tested into pretty much every match I thought was possible to show up. And I played Briar since last, I guess that set came out in September. So on the data sheets that we have from our testing, I played that deck 400 or 500 times. Yeah. So I played it against everything from Dash, which Dash didn't change, right, since the ban restricted announcement, into Oldhim, into Old Bravo, into, you go down the list. It's all the things.
Which actually notably is something that I was really awesome. I thought it was so awesome that you had players like Yuki, who is a Lexi, just play Lexi, probably played Lexi so much. Alexander Vora played Kano so much. And seeing them have success and you have success with Briar just off the back of I just have a ton of experience with this hero. And so I'm just tighter on my gameplay, and seeing that be rewarded and seeing that as a valid path for somebody to eventually win something. Yeah. Just keep it the same hero, and you will have an advantage even when the matchup isn't favored.
Yeah. And I was talking about this around the ban restricted announcement because I felt like this is a weird strength of Fab. That you don't think about up front, but I played Briar that weekend. ProQuest weekend, I played Briar and Viscera, 2 decks I'm very familiar with. But then Band Restricted happens, and Viscera is not as good anymore. Yeah. And so if I only played Viscera, I'd be in a tough spot because I'm gonna have to find a new deck, learn it, play all the matchups, and then you have to get good enough to start making those deep level tweaks. Like Tell Me the Arcanine, right? That's a weird card that you don't see showing up in a lot of Briar lists, but it is the kind of card you get to eke out that from 94 to 95%, right? That end ratio stuff. So, anyways, with Briar though, I felt like all of those games and all those reps didn't go anywhere. And like even if she's not the right call in a given meta or at a certain time, it doesn't just disappear. So like right now you were doing all those dark horses. At some point, right? It's like Dory's gonna be good again.
Well, at some point, Hexagore is going to be playable, and
Totally.
like I was like, well, I've been at that party
Yep.
for. I gave that. I left the door. Now, if I were really awesome, I would stay on the Via Hexagore this whole time.
Yeah.
I would have been playing only that, but I don't think the stream necessarily wants to see that. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe they do.
We've got to shift around a little bit.
So anyways, yeah, I felt really good. And essentially at that point, like I'm just trying to make sure by the time I get to the actual Pro Tour, I just feel rested.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not looking to stress out. I'm not looking to jam games. I know some people were getting there early and like had testing houses and like we're like, even we'll come back, we'll advance. So that night we go out. The thing I want to note about that night, we ended up going to, people were asking about this in Discord, is why I mentioned it on our Discord channel. We ended up going to a speakeasy called Patent Pending.
Okay.
And had this amazing waitress named Alex. And I was just like, hey, I want you to bring me whatever you think the best drink here is. And then she was like, well, I have a few questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
Told her I liked old fashions, etc. She said, okay, I know exactly what I'm bringing. Brings me back a drink. It may have been the best cocktail I've ever had in my entire life.
That's amazing how that happened.
Like, the place is cool. Like,
Yeah.
You would have loved it. It was just like super cool. If you're in New York, go to Patent Pending. It's worth it. And if you have Alex, the waitress, trust her.
What makes something a speakeasy anymore these days? You can look them up on Google, right?
Yeah, I mean, so the thing is, like, there's this place called Patent Coffee, and it's in a building that Nikola Tesla owned and used and stuff. It's got that kind of like invention-y vibe going on, but it looks closed. It's just a coffee shop, and it's like 10 p.m. But you can actually go in, and then the back corner of this empty coffee shop is a guy standing there, and then you tell him that you want, and he tells you, you get your number and says, I'll text you if we have space or not. So then we went to a different bar and just waited to get the text.
That's cool.
Then you go back and it's like the vibe's super cool.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what the drink was, but she came back, she brought it. It looks kind of like an old fashioned. She was like, it's got notes of cherry, espresso, and walnut. And I was like,
okay.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Please. And apparently they'd aged the whiskey like 14 months or something in like caskets that you can see. Caskets? Not caskets.
Caskets would be a different vibe for sure. You just pour one out
aged
of
casks.
grandpa
Yeah,
there.
I've been to that kind of bar. Anyways, so that was a great night, just hanging out. But then Thursday was super chill. It was funny. We were like, oh, let's go swim, right? The pool's closed. They're remodeling. It's like, okay, fine.
Always.
So hung out, and then Tim and Ian didn't qualify for the Pro Tour. So they left in the afternoon. They went, saw a Broadway show.
It's a Hades town.
Yeah. Did all that stuff. Meanwhile, I went to the banquet, and the banquet is really fascinating for a couple of reasons. One, it's so awesome that Legend Story Studios did this. They had a banquet. It was dinner. I was really surprised. We got in there, and like they had a charcuterie table
Like
where you could like make your own little charcuterie board on your plate. I love charcuterie boards, as people who follow the stream regularly know.
Yeah, you're kind of a grazer.
Yeah,
you really are a grazer.
It's way better.
Yeah.
So I got that, and then like whole food plant-based stuff. I was eating cheese, so that's a problem. But lots of fruits and like vegetables and stuff, and that was great. They had all kinds of other great-looking stuff. Everything from like fancy-looking sliders to like these little steak pieces on this, and it's just like
Classic
all
heavy hors
kinds of
d'oeuvres.
stuff. Yeah.
I love it.
But it was really interesting. Someone was asking me the next day. They're like, "Hey, how was the banquet?" And it was kind of like odd, and not in a negative way, but this is a room full of people who are like a little anxious about the tournament tomorrow, but also no one wants to talk about Fab. Mm-hmm. Because like the tournament hasn't started yet, So it's like, hey, Kano?
Yeah.
But no, it's like, there's groups, and there's even people in the banquet just playing Fab, right? Jamming out games, like every minute counts. But it was kind of an interesting energy. Because like I was super ready and like just kind of ready for the tournament to happen. It didn't get to me ever.
Yeah. I think I'd be playing up to the starting bell.
But I could tell that like every conversation that you're kind of a part of or overhearing. It's like people are only 80% transparent about what, and you want to talk about fab, but like no one really wants to talk about what they're on and like what they learn. It's this whole thing.
100%. I've been in those situations, right? Like even the hour before the tournament starts and everyone's there just kind of milling about, and it's like, do you want to talk about it? And it's like you don't want to talk about what you're about to do and what kind of tech you brought, and it's like you're trying to feel people out. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But then they had a Q&A, and you can find that online. I think Flake posted that to his YouTube channel. That was really cool. James did answered a bunch of questions, said all the heroes from the first 2 sets are going to be getting kind of start of the show treatment at some point in the not so distant future.
Really?
So talented versions of them.
That's amazing.
Which is exciting.
What's Azalea going to be?
He also one answer I found really interesting about Starvo and balance and that kind of stuff was essentially they were testing it when Briar was unchanged and still had Plunder Run, and the meta still had Plunder Run in general. And at that point, it felt pretty on par because it still had a tough Prism matchup. The aggro deck of choice was Briar, and it could routinely win because Briar stacks up the embodiment of Earth. So the Dominate doesn't hit as hard from start of the show.
Even Awakening's not that bad then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot there, and she still has Plunder Run, so she's actually even a little faster still.
Can you imagine any other hero in that metagame, though?
Yeah.
Ugh, just getting buried.
But you also don't want to print start of the show and him not be playable.
Sure.
So that's how it was just an interesting actual context to think about because they were hitting print on that thing.
Yeah.
Well before
That's fascinating.
It happened. But that was cool. Then just went back to the hotel room and chilled. Was joined by other Wolfpackers.
Who's in the pack there at the Pro Tour?
The people there were Ian, Tim, and me. We went together, and then my longtime friend Matt Coles. For context, he and I played the Star Wars LCG together about a decade ago.
Isn't that crazy? It does not seem like that.
And I met him. I was telling some people this story this weekend, but I met him in the top 16 cut of the first World Championship for the Star Wars LCG. He was the 1 seed, I was the 16 seed. So we played first round. And the tiebreaker rules in that game, because you played one as light side, one as dark side, were really bustedly favored to the higher seed.
Yeah.
So much so that not super surprisingly, just given the skill, but also the higher seed won almost every match of that cut. So we went to a draw, and the draw goes to the higher seed, which is why that happened. So he beat me. But then the next day was the 2v2 World Championship that they kind of announced a little bit late. And Matt and I had a good time playing against each other, and he ended up losing in the finals to a local to us, which is Dennis.
Oh, right. That's a magical thing.
So neither of us had a teammate. We ran into each other, and it was like, hey, you want to play in this thing together? And that tournament was one of the most fun competitive events, probably the most fun I've ever had at a competitive event, which is why when they announced the call in Vegas was Team Blitz, I was immediately like, I'm going to support this. I got to go. Even if I don't like Blitz, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Team events are just so interactive and social and fun. And just the energy that happens when you show up with someone you know versus you show up by yourself and you're across from someone that's by themselves. It's a
totally different vibe.
Different vibe. So anyways, we actually won that championship together. So when Vegas got announced and he's been testing with us in the Wolfpack because he got into Fab late last year, it was like, hey, you want to team this thing up again? So he will be playing with the two of us in Vegas, which will be super fun. But he's there. What are you going to say?
Prism Mike?
And Prism Mike. What happened to our...
is the feed blank?
Screen.
I don't know. There it goes.
We're back.
That's
Terrifying.
you don't like that at all, do you?
Gotta scare you. I just saw it go black and I was nervous.
Now, that's one of the more... Why do these things happen? Is there even a conceivable reason? Anyway, go ahead.
Anyways, and then the last person there was Prism Mike, who I had never met in person. He's friends with Dante Del Frisco, another Wolfpacker, and a local to him. And
man, Dante, woof.
Yeah.
That's a good score there.
Yeah. You gotta love Del Frisco. Man, he was obviously devastated not to be there. And then, you're in the Discord too, and you're gonna have your first outing in Vegas in a little bit. But then the other person around right now is Brian, who's a local to Matt, who Tim and Ian actually knew from Skytear, which is interesting.
Oh, right.
But yeah, so we got together and we're hanging out, and I'm trying to think about what even happened on Thursday night.
You go to the banquet. What happens after the banquet?
I honestly don't even remember. What does Matt have his notes for the post
He does.
banquet?
Yeah.
What was oh, I remember. I do remember. It's so good. All right, so weather was nice. I was like, as we're walking out of the hall. I think Matt was like, "You guys want to get games, like, or what?" And I was like, "I just want to go sit outside and have a beer."
Oh, beautiful.
Like, the weather was perfect.
Yeah.
So I looked up. I was like, beer patio search. First place I found, it was like 6 or 7 minute Uber right away. Looked like it had this really nice outside area and whatnot. So we hop in the Uber and we're off to the races. And also with Mike, he has a friend, Jackie, Jackie's awesome. He's just like a great person to have around. You know? Mike is, but Jackie.
Jackie as well.
Yeah, I hadn't tested with Jackie. I didn't know Jackie. Jackie was just traveling with Mike.
Okay.
And so we went to this I'll call it a bar. It was sketchy. It was just the pictures did not look like what we ended up arriving at.
You get dropped off and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, but we all just made it happen. So we sat outside and like, it was questionable, but they had beer and we were outside. And
the 2 requests, really.
Just chat about life and had a good time, and just relaxed, and that was it. After we had a couple rounds, we went back to the hotel, went to sleep, and we're ready to start the race as it was.
Wicked.
Coming in the next day. So the next day, our hotel was right next to the convention center. Went in and waited for round 1 pairings for the Pro Tour.
Is there any nerves? How much nerves are going on there?
Honestly, I think I said this on stream a couple weeks ago. And I have my tournament health, so I'll walk us through, and we'll get to the games that are viewable thanks to the stream. But I've never felt so prepared for a tournament ever. Like I said, I mean, I was so prepared the 2 nights beforehand. I was going out for drinks.
Yeah.
I was obviously not sweating it, but also never felt so much like I could absolutely just not win a single game the whole weekend. Because you're in the Pro Tour. I think there were close to 400 people playing that had to qualify. All of the best players in the world, everyone you see from all sorts of countries are going to be there. I mean, this is going to be the cream of the crop, as Macho Man would say.
That's right.
As
they say, yeah.
And I kind of feel like I know the score, right? If I get paired against Prism, I think I'll win most of those games. If I get paired against Star of the Show, I think I'll probably win unless they just get real hot, which might happen. It's fine. If I get paired against Chain, I really hope I win that die roll, straight up. If I don't win the die roll, I mean, I'm giving myself the best shot I've got. If I get paired against anything else, I'm just playing my game.
Yeah, just playing Briar.
Just doing my thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel nervous at all. I was just kind of ready to go.
Chris has a good question here, Chris Malabar. So up to this point, is there any Wolfpack v Arsenal Pass cage matches? Is anyone getting a chair from under the thing? Is there any talking? Is there any tension?
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting because anytime you have any sort of falling out with someone, I'm there's different scales. I think there were some people that thought it was way more intense than it really was. But yeah, I mean, it's not the same. You go from testing every day with someone, chatting a lot, every event you go to, they're the people you're testing with, so you're sharing all your information with.
Yeah.
And part of being on a team at these events, and having a team at events is so awesome, right? Because you have people to check in with, how are they doing? But you're also starting to understand the field. Is Briar playing like we thought she was? Is Chain, are they doing the things we thought they would do? Did you run into a Kano player? What are they doing? Is it what we expect? How are Prisms leaning Heralds? Are they Auras? All that kind of stuff. So having those checkpoints is actually really nice to kind of start getting an understanding of what's going on. What was the question?
So did you guys fight at the banquet or anything?
No, we did
food at each other.
We did run into each other. So talked a little bit with Hayden and Brendan, and just
silence fell over the room. All eyes looked over.
No, just saying hi and checking in, seeing how things are going. not to get overly personal, but there was definitely some various stuff going on in various people's lives. So checking in about that kind of stuff, the real, not,
the real
the
stuff.
like off the table stuff, and that's where like there's still no like personal, ill will as much as just rivals. I at some point I was texting with Brendan, and it was like rivals on the court. Right.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't need to affect what's going on off the court, so to speak. But there was definitely hadn't seen each other since all that went down. So there's a little bit of that, but neither of us were avoiding it. I don't think we saw each other, and like immediately I was catching up with Hayden and then Brendan. But also very much hoping to get to play them.
Yeah.
Right. Like that. Yeah. I absolutely want to play them and want to outperform them straight up. It's just the mentality, right? The competitive nature of the game, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so you go into round 1. What happens?
Oh man, let me get my notebook.
Yeah.
I got stories.
Chapter
to share.
1, I am born.
First off, can we go top down real quick? Again, Legend Story. Just this weekend was remarkable. This game is amazing, and getting to play in this event was just such a privilege. But they had a surprise for everyone participating that I want to show. Totally unexpected, and my goodness, look at this thing. Very pleased. It has none of the like zones on it.
Yeah, that's what you want, right?
It's also very earthy in theme with my my Briar. So like
I love the gems.
Everyone that played in the Pro Tour got this mat, and it was just a really nice, unannounced, unshown, unexpected touch that they did. And this is the only way you get this mat is playing at Pro Tour number 1.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool.
You just keep finding ways to make it special. It seems like the general buzz. What was the general attitude like in the convention hall and among Flesh and Blood players? Because I think a lot of times we see some of the ladder voices are the investment voices, right? You see the Rudies and you see the Louis.
Yeah, kitchen paper.
And the other kind of that vibe of things, and it's like, people are selling first edition products, et cetera. And so there's a different perspective from people in the hall playing Flesh and Blood. So what was your ultimate take on that?
Yeah, I think across the weekend, it's one of the things I noted is like, it's so clear even at these top, I do it in air quotes, but like the Pro Tour level. I mean, this is a big event, it's serious, winning. There's genuine money on the line. Like this is not a playmat top 8 situation, right? This is like PTIs and cash and cards that are worth a weird amount of money and like all that stuff. But it was so obvious the whole time that everyone I was playing against loved this game. They loved playing this game. This game was built for like this experience, right? Like it's so optimized. It's so good at being this and wild. And something I saw people tweeting was really cool. I don't have experience with like Pro Tours and stuff from Magic and what do they call GPs?
Grand Prix, yeah.
But someone tweeted that is familiar with Magic that most GPs Sunday afternoon empty hall. It's like you're down to the top 8. Everyone that lost is out. But Fab Sunday afternoon. 2,500 plus people in the convention center playing this game.
My gosh, that's amazing.
Right? And only 8 are playing the top 8 of the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
You have the Calling Day 2. You have the Battle Hardened. You had a Commoner event that had, I think, hundreds of people in it. You had all the side events going on. And like the hotel we were in was right next door and had this big lobby with all these tables. There was no point where I walked through all weekend, and except for Sunday afternoon, which is when everyone was in the hall playing these things, where that lobby wasn't full of people playing Fab. Till like 2 a.m, right? I think the hotel made them stop playing. Monday morning, after this is all said and done, long weekend, walking through, lobby has 30 people in there playing Fab.
So good.
People can't get enough, right? So I think what we're seeing right now with Fab 2.0 and Uprising and everything going on right now is a shift away from, I think the collectability got really centrally focused for a while, prices, how much is stuff worth and stuff. And the game is kind of taking over.
Yeah.
Which is a natural kind of retracement that needed to happen for the long-term sustainability. Because it kind of comes back to the thing you always say, which is like, if people aren't playing the game, what's the value of any of this?
Yeah.
Like, if it's not actually a usable thing, is it just a piece of cardboard that we find valuable? Mm-hmm. And some games and cards do that, but like Pokemon didn't do that because it wasn't collectible because it was collectible.
Yeah.
It was collectible because it was Pokemon.
People wanted to play, and they want to play with cards that happen to be hard to get.
And then Pokemon as a brand got so big that like the OG Charizard and Pikachu and stuff has value from that perspective. Mm-hmm. But like just a game that's collectible to be collectible, and baseball cards do it, but a lot of times that's because it's Ken Griffey, right? Or like whoever it is, it's a specific player does something. And so there's this meaning behind it. Anyways, opponents were all great. I had no negative interactions on the opponent front, and I have a lot to say about the other interactions I was having throughout the weekend, which were incredible. We'll get into that as we go.
I'm glad to hear that. Let's turn it down.
Yeah. Round 1, I was playing against Sean from Florida.
Okay.
Chain.
Your worst matchup.
It's like, all right, let's go. Roll the die. You want even or odd? He's like, I'll take it even. Roll and get a 4. He's like, I'll go first.
Tournament's off to a great start.
He's like, I'll go first. I was like, you sure? He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I'll go first. So he goes first, and we're playing, a close game. I actually have a pretty big turn that gets him down. I have a heroic. I'm like, this is how it needs to go. It's how it needs to go. And then he just rolls me totally under the table. Like 3 or 4 shackles, hits 3 or 4 cards, Art of War, just
the chain special
goes off on me.
And now it's worth noting that this is the matchup that we all agreed was the one we're trying to avoid going into this tournament.
Yeah, and Chain, a lot of top players talking about Chain the week of being the best deck.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a deck into a tournament that I love to play that is not particularly great against what is the best deck. But like I said, I think at least the way I was playing it, when I'm going first, 80-90%.
Yeah.
So it's really not that bad. Yeah. It's just bad if I'm going second.
And you're good into Prism, and you're good into Starvo. We expect Starvo and Chain were number 1.
Yep, and I think Prism will be around.
That's actually right on, but the finals is right on.
Yeah. The meta breakdown. Do we have the breakdown of day 1 meta?
We do.
You want to pull it up?
Robot, give me day 1 breakdown. If you can do that, please, Mr. Bryce. Bryce 2.0, 3.0.
Let's see if it works.
Yeah, we'll see if it works.
Bada
boom.
So I can't read that, but I think the orange is probably star of the show.
Yeah, that's right. Orange is star of the show. Purple is Chain.
White's Prism.
White is Prism, yeah.
And then everything else, right?
And then you have kind of everything else.
Which one's Briar? Which is a little piece of that pie?
Hold on, I'll get it for you. Let me consult the monitor. Briar is green here.
Like that forest green, like bright green at the bottom?
Yeah, was the green there,
yeah.
So like it's all kind of equally spread across the nonsense.
But that was more or less what I expected. Then I get paired against Chain, going first round, and I get rolled under the table. I remember as he was doing it, I was like, welcome to the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Like that was what was going on in my head. So losing round 1 is not very good because every opponent you play for the rest of the tournament has at least 1 loss, which means your strength of schedule is going to be lower than anyone that won round 1 and has the same record.
Yeah, we call that the old submarine.
Yeah. But I think I was texting you and I was posting updates in Discord. It's like, I feel fine. Like,
yeah, we've seen this before.
Yeah.
Like this was in the testing room, was the same thing.
Yep.
It's like sometimes you get rolled by Chain.
And I think it's easy when you lose to go on tilt. And it was really cool. I think it was Pablo in the finals. He lost his finals of the Pro Tour, right? He lost his first 2 games.
Isn't that amazing?
And then he literally won 11 of his next 12.
I love it.
That's crazy.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Anyways, Sean was a great opponent. Dunked me under the table. It's like, all right, well, let's go. Round 2. Played against Steve from South Carolina. It's really amazing the different places that we'll cover in a second. Katsu.
Wow.
Roll. He gets to go first.
Yeah, I haven't seen Katsu for a hot minute. We didn't spend much time on Katsu.
No. Now, luckily I did in the last meta. My brother Tim plays a lot of Katsu, so I always at least get some amount of reps into Katsu.
So you knew what? Block the first surging if you can, make them prove that they have the whelming, and then always block the whelming if you can, of course.
Yeah, you definitely block the surging because they can't raise reflex it. They can't. The only thing they can pump it with is Ancestral Empowerment. Mm-hmm. The Breaking Scales, I think is what it's called, can't pump it either because it doesn't have combo. So you block that for 5 if you can. And Briar has a really easy time of it. This is a good match for Briar. If you have an embodiment, your non-attack's blocked for 4. So even if you have 1 armor left on like your skull cap, you just cover it up. You can also use the 1 armors to cover the like second Kodachi to break, stop the mask momentum stuff going on. And that match went as expected. I was getting in the flow, got the game.
And then your big stuff is better than Katsu's big stuff.
Definitely.
Basically.
Yeah, in that game, I'm just playing super conservative, right? Save health until I have Mount Heroic out, and then have the health to give up at that point to then just slam down on him, which is exactly how it played out. So I got that game.
Great.
Man.
Yeah.
1-1. Feeling great.
Got to win. That first win is important. Okay,
Yeah,
it is possible. Like I remember what this feels like to win.
Round 3, playing against Kai, who's on Prism from Dallas. Prism, my best match by a mile.
Is this the Kai that's in our chat a lot? Kai, if you're out there, sound off. Kai Jacobson, I think, comes on in the chat a lot.
Maybe. I don't know. That's always fun because like usernames are not quite usually the same as real life names. So Prism, we do the roll. First time in the tournament, I get to go first. Going first against Prism, easy peasy.
Unlosable.
Auto win. I'm feeling good. Mid game, things are fine. I'm ahead. I'm probably ahead by 10 health. Play Mount Heroic. Pass the turn. This is great. Mount Heroic is phenomenal in this match. Beyond the damage, it pumps your attack on defense too, so it helps you blow up those auras. And
Phantasms, right?
Yeah.
It's all the same. It's all just illusionist stuff.
Illusionist stuff.
I just
for
blow
sure.
it all up. That's the idea.
I played the Heroic though. I draw up, and I get 2 Sonata Arcanics, 2 blues.
It's a big Sonata if you want it.
Okay. So you can go about this a couple different ways. I mean, you can, and I think I arsenaled like a non-attack of some kind. It's what I had left.
Yeah.
I had the Heroic and then just swung the sword or something and whatever. But the way I approached it was Sonata, pay 2, have 1 floating from the blue you pitched. Sonata, pay 2, have 2 floating, so you get to see 4 twice.
Yeah.
Odds are you're probably going to draw at least 1, maybe 2 attacks.
Should be
maybe
at
4
least 2.
on the
4
upside.
is incredible.
4
Game
is
over.
insane,
Right?
yeah. And also now I pitched 2 blue cards, so Mount Heroic's going to stay again.
Yeah.
So
Great.
like,
These are good things.
and I get an embodiment because I played 2 non-attacks with Sonata. It's like there's so many cards I can hit. E-Strike with a free go again means I get a draw.
I feel like I know where this is going.
Yeah. And for all of the heat that I had in the Edmund Pro Quest that I wanted to play in this event where I was hitting the Sonatas for 4, like it was just
You're
butter.
rocking them, yeah.
4 attacks, draw 0, shuffle back up. 4 non-attacks, draw 0, shuffle back up. So I swing the sword. And this obviously is bad. But it's really bad because no attacks also means I don't have an embodiment of Earth.
Yeah.
So then I draw my hand. I draw 4 red attacks
That's what, yeah.
that all block for 2.
Great. Lovely. Love
I've
that.
used armor on Herald of Your Edition.
Here comes the Air Edition. Oh my gosh.
Here comes Herald of Your Edition. So, all right, block with 1. I have just enough armor, right? That I can block with the 2 and cover the armor. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be so good. I've got an embodiment. I'm going to play like Snatch with 7 with Go Again, into a Rabble, into a Scar. It's just like going crazy. But then he plays Fractal Replication.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't block that.
It's another Air Edition.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, I can take 5. I can block 2, but like that's not going to do anything. So that's 7 damage attack. It's not worth it. Take 5. He draws 2. Herald of Your Edition.
Oh.
It's like, whew. Oof. Take 5. He draws 2.
Oof.
And then he plays like another Herald for 7. And then he gets like I think a Genesis out or something. So I went from like up 10 with a Heroic out to on like 4 life. And he's at like 13.
Yeah.
And I don't get back in that game. So I actually lose.
Wow.
So I'm 1 and 2.
That's gotta feel bad. Oof.
1 and 2.
Oof,
And I
feels
lost
bad.
to Prism going first, which is like
Which you're not supposed to do. That's one of the reasons you run Briar.
when your friends come up to you to ask you how it's going, and you have to reveal that that's what just happened. The weekend is not looking great for you. But anyways, I honestly I feel fine. Like it's like this is so.
You know what's up?
The odds of what happened here happening are just like insane. I don't feel bad about it. I'm just gonna go keep playing my game. But again, I came in okay with the fact that I could go 0-7.
Yeah.
That is so possible.
You still had the best cocktail of your life.
That's right.
That's right.
And I'm hanging out with great friends, having a good time. Like, you can't take this weekend away from me no matter how bad it goes, right? So then round 4, I'm playing against Nick from Alaska, which is really cool. I mean, we've now got Florida, Alaska, Dallas, and South Carolina.
Yeah, cool.
Which is just a crazy, crazy spread. But Nick was playing Prism. He wins the roll to go first. Mm-hmm. And this one starts, I think he got like a Genesis and Haze Bending.
So double aura out first turn. That's classic
perfect.
Prism right there.
That's great, yeah. Mm-hmm. But then I proceed to do Briar things to Prism for the rest of that round. That round, I got my second win. Felt great. That was just like things went really in my favor after that.
Yeah.
Just like Sonata for 2, hit 2, heroic out. Like you're just all the heat. So I get that game. Proceeding, I'm 2-2. Right, 3 rounds to go. You have to win at least 4 to go to day 2. But realistically, even going into day 2 at 4-3 is not so good because like you can't lose again, and you've already had so many losses that you could even finish 11-3 and maybe not make the cut.
Yeah,
it's like that bad. So, but ultimately, I'm still feeling fine. Again, I think part of it is the expectation that I could go 0-7. So I'm already 2 ahead of where it could have gone as worse. Here we go. Next, I get paired against Mark from London. Well, actually from New Zealand, recently moved to London. And the gym gods shine upon me. We get another Prism.
All right.
Prism, and not only do we get a Prism, but I'm going first. So, feeling good. That game was closer than the one before, but ultimately, Briar doing Briar things. There was never really a moment in that game where I didn't feel in control of what was going on and how it was going, the pace of the game. I'm controlling the tempo the whole time. Get another victory. So I'm 3-2. Finally got above 500.
Solid submarine play
for the first time in the
surface of the water. Here we go.
Next I played against Peter, who's also from the UK, and this is crazy. Okay, so I'm 3-2, playing as Peter. I'm like, how long you been playing Fab? 6 weeks.
Well, how does one get a Pro Tour invite in 6 weeks?
Well, he's been playing Magic for a while. Was kind of getting tired of it, so he moved over to Fab, and was able to win a Pro Quest.
Nice.
After playing the game for like a week and a half.
Excellent.
Which is incredible. He's also on Chain.
Okay.
So, but we roll the die. I get to go first. We'll see how it goes. We get into the game, and I felt like I was way ahead. Similar heroic out situation. Put an attack in arsenal, draw up, and don't draw any attacks.
Okay.
Which is fine-ish. But then he played like a 7 strength Command and Conquer with Shadow Puppetry.
Yikes.
So I essentially have to just block with 3 of the cards in my hand and then just swing for 7, put a card in arsenal. And he hadn't used Husk yet. So he's just like, Husk. He takes 1 damage off that exchange, and now he's coming in with like 5 shackles, has a big Art of War turn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is slipping out of my hands. He gets me down to 4, and then thankfully I just had a sneaky play where I think I just played a Snatch, which we'll come back to later. I just played a Snatch, and I think he was like 6 health or something, or 16 is what it was at. And then I used the Spellbound Creepers to sneak in a mountain.
Nice, yeah. Secret mountain.
Yeah, and instant speed Mount Heroic is... So then Snatch actually hits, and he takes a damage, and I draw a card, and I get my action point back. And he was newer, and I could tell like that is not he's never had a mountain thrown on top of him.
Yeah, that is not the exchange he was expecting.
Yeah, it was just too much for him. So I got that game. Now I'm solidly at 4-2. I've technically qualified for day 2, and going to the last round. I mean, this is just the gravy play. Like if I win this, I feel like I'm sitting pretty good. 5-2 on day 1. Feel good going into day 2. This is when I play against Tomas from Poland.
Cool.
Which is super cool. Again, this is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Playing people from all over the world. I'm like, hey, what hero are you on? And again, the gym gods have shined upon me. And they gave me another prison player. So we roll. He gets to go first. And, doing prison things, playing auras, doing that whole thing.
It's a lot less scary when you actually have seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You understand the matchup.
Yeah.
Something I've realized myself.
And, I think mid-game I had a heroic, and then it was just kind of backbreaking. Because he had an all-herald hand. and then I was just like,
Yeah.
I blocked with a Scar to blow up a Herald, and it was just like, okay.
Let me pause you. Chat's very concerned about your Prism match where you had the Fractal Replication Erudition. You had Heroic out. Did you not have an attack to break it with Phantasm or something? Was there some kind of do you remember that at all? Did they Dreamweavers it?
I didn't. No, I think Heroic must have gone away. Like I think I just had 2 blues.
Okay.
So probably like a Blue Whisper or something.
Sure.
Because I definitely would have caught
Either
that.
way.
Yeah,
you
I
can't
definitely.
bump it. You played against Prism enough. You wouldn't
yeah.
have been like, Mount Heroic doesn't.
Yeah, actually, there was one of these games where my opponent didn't realize that Heroic applied on defense.
Yeah.
And that was also backbreaking. I don't remember which game that happened in. It may have been this one, where I just blocked and it was just like, oh, that's how that works. And it's like, this is bad.
Right on.
This is really bad.
Right on.
But Tomaz was awesome. That was one of my. So
You played against a ton of Prism.
Yeah.
Man, Briar, the right call in that gym matchup.
Yeah, I saw 1, 2, 3, 4 prisms.
That's so favorable for Briar. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, but and 2 chains, which is not crazy, and 1 Katsu. But I saw no Starvo, which is the most popular deck, on day 1. But Tomaz was a great last opponent. In the round, we were both having a good time, and like it could be intense. Both of us want that game, and then Briar just doing Briar things to Prism. So I got that, and we'll see. We're gonna show the footage of the Briar game.
Prism Clinic, really.
Yeah, so that was day 1. What day of the week is that? That's a Friday?
So 5-2, that's nice. So how, you leave the tournament immediately, you go get some dinner? What's going on that night? Or should just go to the hotel and chill out?
I know exactly what happened. So that is the day that Tim and Ian had their mandate. And it was the kind of experience that the more I heard about it, the more I couldn't believe everything I was hearing.
Like they just hung out all day in New York
That's
together
all they did, yeah.
on Friday.
Yeah. And the first thing I heard was like they knew we weren't done with the tournament yet, so they killed time by getting like manicures and pedicures. That was the first thing I heard. But like it actually, if you had a long list of
I
like,
love it.
Here's the bucket list of things we're gonna do in New York.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna like casually make them happen. You couldn't have written this list.
Wow.
And yeah, some of it I won't talk about because it's uncomfortable. Things they run into, just in the subway or on the streets, and like just like they kept revealing little tidbits, and every time I'd be like, "What?
Yeah,
when did this
what?"
happen? So they were doing that, and we got done about 5:30, and the Uber prices at that time are like not cheap. Everyone's trying to get in and out of the city. Traffic's bad. So they didn't want to come back yet, and everyone in our group kind of wanted to go into the city. So we actually met up with them in the city and had steak dinner.
Yeah,
nice and relaxing. So a couple other updates at this point. Day 1, Matt Coles finished 3-3-1.
Oof.
So he doesn't qualify for day 2.
Yeah.
That's a rough go. Meanwhile, Prism Mike on Prism, of course, finished 6-1.
Yes.
So
Mike's the one who taught me Kana, right?
Yeah.
Mike's good.
Mike is very good.
Mike good at this game.
Mike good. Check.
Yeah. You can tell.
Yeah. So he finished 6-1, which is great. We were kind of celebrating just a solid day 1, right?
Yeah.
None of us had a losing record.
And then Matt's just just over in the corner with a steak and a couple of tears or something.
Well, funnily enough, we're just going to lean into this whole experience. So the only place that didn't have a crazy wait it's called Morton's. I've never heard of it. It's like a steak place. Apparently there's sort of a chain. It's a nicer place. Sorry, man, I'm throwing you on the bus on this one. It's so funny.
Matt's in the chat here.
Yeah. So we go, and Tim and Ian are already there, and they've been like just hanging out at the bar waiting on us to get there so they can see us.
Looking refreshed, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, they had this
cucumbers on
day.
there.
Yeah, man, they had like a spa day, and they went to the Harry Potter store, and like they went to Central Park, and all. I mean, you gotta hear this story.
It's a rom-com, really, in the making.
Yeah, it really is adorable. It was so cute because they're playing the Calling, right? They didn't make the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
But that's just a great. I mean, it sounded great. But so we go in, and like the hostess is like, sorry, but we don't allow shorts in the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt's got shorts on.
Yeah.
And Ian's like, I've got shorts on, and I verified that shorts were okay. And she was like, yes, well, his shorts have pockets. They're like cargo shorts. And
is this a scene from Lebowski?
Yeah, oh my God. It was so hilarious. And like, so for me, you know, I like nice places, but also I don't like pretense, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, let's just go somewhere else. Like, I don't even care. Like, there's this place called Los Tacos #1 in New York I love, which we did end up going to later. That's just like street tacos. It's like, we'll just walk there or something. But Ian had paid a deposit to get the reservation.
Wow.
So he was obviously not interested in leaving.
Yeah.
Because he had paid a decently sized deposit to play. But then that became a joke throughout the weekend. Like Matt's shorts, like we were joking about all throughout.
As one does with friends, you know?
Yeah, you build it.
Like that 33rd place.
The manager came over and was like, hey, we'll see you guys, like, et cetera, et cetera. We smoothed it out and made it happen.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, you can't not eat now the whole time. Being like, everyone's kind of like, you know, I was in a V-neck or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, is this enough? Like,
everyone's staring at you
and
guys.
I'm sure Matt's like can feel the air hitting his legs, and he's just like, I'm in shorts. Are people staring at me weird?
As he says here, hey man, I was on vacation. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I get it. He was in party mode, dude. We weren't thinking about it. We just got in the Uber and went, and then I don't know. We haven't stayed.
Yeah. Steak.
Yeah, whatever. So we did that. And then we were all really spent. So we just went back to the hotel, crashed.
Was the steak any good? I mean, the thing about steak, man, it's just steak.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a cool atmosphere. I like the steakhouse atmosphere. You know, that's fine. You get a really good, if you get a really good drink and you got steak and all that, and it's like $1,000 for no reason. But it's like, I can make a steak pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just steak.
We also ran
it's
the Ryan
probably get
Roper.
a souffle or something.
I saw his name in the chat. He came with us to the
Who was it?
Ryan Roper.
Oh, Ryan, yeah. Ryan's always up for a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine.
Yeah. Ryan said the steak was really good.
Mine was fine. I think my experience was also just overshadowed by the intro.
Yeah, the pretense filter on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I even told the hostess on the way out, because, like, it was obviously a tense moment, and, like, no one was rude or anything, but I get that's even for her, probably really uncomfortable. Like, you don't want to have to tell that.
Right.
I was like, hey, look, like, I understand. Like, this is a company policy. It's not on you. Like, didn't want her feeling any friction on that. But it was fine.
And to be fair, 50% of people wearing cargo shorts, no good.
At
least half of people wearing
like
cargo shorts
match,
at this
right?
exact moment, I really don't want to be dining with. So
sure, yeah.
Hopefully Matt's on the upper half of that 50, but I can't be sure. I don't know him enough.
So then we went back, passed out. Next day, also worth noting too, there was a Starbucks right around the corner. And the next day, this is the fun experience in the morning. This is really the spilling all the tea. Apparently, their credit card machine was broken, so they were only doing cash. But then they were only doing cash, so they ran out of change.
Right, classic. Yeah.
So then there was one person that had like a 50, and like they were like, we can't break that. And he was getting upset, which I get. Mm-hmm. Like, this is your breakfast option that's nearby, and like you can't buy anything. It's weird, but I don't know. It's just like there's no. It is what it is. Like she can't do anything about it either. Like she doesn't have money. She can't. Anyways, that was just like a weird situation. But on the upside, Starbucks, I want to say, has incredible oats. They have steel cut oats with blueberries.
Overnight.
No, not overnight.
Oh.
They have oats, and they pour the hot water and let it steep for 3 minutes, and then boom, you got oats.
What does incredible oats entail? Because, if you put 3 different oats in front of me, they're all going to taste about the same. So it's just about what they put in it there?
Well, they have oats. They have high-quality things they give you. So it's like they have nectar.
Like agave nectar.
Yeah, they have brown sugar, but I use the
That's
agave.
right, because you're such a square these days.
And then they have like dried fruits and raisins that you put in, and they have like cut up almonds and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
And then they have you get blueberries.
You get
blueberry. Yeah, crazy. But having that every morning. So I had that, and then went over for day 2 of the Pro Tour. The chat's so good.
I know, yeah. It's like let's talk cargo pants.
Yeah. So then day 2, of course, going into day 2, I know if I want to make the top 8 cut, I'm gonna probably need to go 6-1, and if I lose, it's probably gonna need to happen later.
Yeah.
Like realistically, that's what you want to happen. So I sit down round 1, and I played against Sean from Toronto. So now we're hitting another country, which is cool. He's on Starvo. I'm like, all right, first Starvo of the day. Let's go.
Here we go.
And notably, Sean has these immaculate sleeves. which are
What does that even mean?
custom printed sleeves that have Brendan's face on them when he was getting dunked on by D-Rude in Indy when he had the surprise flash and like Brendan's on stream and then he just goes like that. And that's the shot that's on the back of Sean's sleeves. So I immediately knew I had a kindred spirit with me. Now, also notably at this point, I have already succeeded because
this is so funny.
My friend turned enemy on the court, Brendan, did not make it to day 2 of the Pro Tour.
So you already have to feel a little pressure's lifted, right?
Yeah, I mean, mission accomplished. Like, I'm here at day 2, you're over there in the other part of the room.
Can't wait to hear his take on that.
So played against Sean, and I won the roll to go first, which is really good. I mean, that's like a 20-25% win percentage swing for me. And like, all right, let's go. And Sean was great. One of my favorite things about Sean, I won the game, is we got done, and he was very genuinely curious. He had questions for me about plays and things he did, what I was thinking, why I was on Spellbound Creepers and not Snapdragons. And we just had a really good conversation afterwards. And it was kind of cool. They had the area where the Pro Tour was happening, like, not roped off, but they have those things you see at like movie theaters or with lines that are kind of like, they're stanchions maybe is what they're called.
That is a word. Yeah, I don't fully. I think that's right. Yeah, stanchions.
But they had it where people couldn't just like walk and spectate the games that were going on. So it kept because the crowds were building and stuff. So when you finish the game, there's like no one around a lot of times. Like or like there might be one match happening next to you, but like really people had finished and moved and like so you can just kind of chat, right?
Which is really nice. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, Sean was great and had a really good game and was able to win that game.
6-2 beat Starvo. You feeling good? You
6-2.
beat Prism. You beat Starvo.
Hey, let's go.
You beat a chain at this point, right? Did you beat one chain or did you not?
I beat a chain. Yeah.
You beat a chain. Yeah.
Next round, I'm playing Joe from the UK.
Okay.
And he's on Prism.
Oh, here we go. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Can't ask for better.
I'm going first. Is this the stream game? I think this is the stream game.
Joe. Hold on, let me check.
Joe from the UK. I think we have this footage.
And we don't have to. We probably don't need to play it all. But let me at least see if this is Joe on the stream here. Game 1. Andrew Rudin. 7-2, you're 7-2. Is this currently 7-2 or is this?
Nope. Okay, so it wasn't Joe.
Yeah, okay.
So this is just me doing Prism. Brighter things in Prism.
Yeah.
I get the game. All right. Now 7-2. Right?
Yeah. Going
in to round 8 against Andrew from Los Angeles.
On Prism. All right, here, let's go.
I got another Prism.
Well, throw it. You got fortunate. Like in a good. I mean, you made the right call here.
I have always said, to win an event like this or do well in an event like this, you have to be very good. You have to be very prepared. Can't make mistakes, and you have to get a little lucky.
Yeah.
And the luck is in the pairings. The luck is in cards that are coming off the top of your deck. Do you hit the double sonata or not? Do you hit the blue or not? Et cetera, et cetera. But yes, I played a deck knowing that it's really nice having a match that is almost a gimme. Mm-hmm. Because if you get paired, and it's a pretty popular deck.
Yeah.
I also think being at the X and 2 slot fed me the prisms.
Yeah.
Actually. Because there weren't a ton of prisms at the X and O, but there were a lot of prisms in the X1, X2, X3 bracket.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, well, let's look at this thing. So we've got, look at you. Good handshake there. I like that.
That was nice.
That's very
nice,
good.
Handshake. Also, Andrew was great. We had a great time.
Being
on camera is interesting. There's layers to it that are, you have to like track various stuff. You have to have your digital health happening, and you have to put dice on attacks for the value that's going on.
All right, so stick with me for a second here. I can see your face right there. You got kind of a weird, kind of a thumbs up thing going on here.
Yeah, that's feel like end of your turn, good to go.
Yeah,
because like it's loud in this room, loudish in this room, and the masks make it hard to hear someone. You know, it muffles your voice.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you say stuff and signal of some kind, and like. It just helps the communication,
passing party. So this to me is, so I had been watching, give you a little context for my situation. I was filming a convention down there in Fort Worth with my brother. That's kind of a side gig that we do once or twice a year. And so I'm monitoring a camera on a speaker trying to maintain focus so that I make sure focus stays on and I don't like ruin the footage. But I also have my phone and I'm watching some Pro Tour games. And one of those games, I see a Prism, I think it was a Prism Breyer matchup. And Breyer got dunked on that one.
Oh, yeah. I think it was round 1.
Yeah, it was like, and it looked very similar to this. So they drop a turn 1 Genesis and a turn 1 Zero Cost Aura, Haze Bending.
Haze Bending particularly, because Haze Bending is when you blow up an aura, they get a Spectral Shield.
Yeah.
And Genesis is such a valuable aura that you kind of have to get it off the table.
Yeah.
But that means that you're going to blow up Genesis, lose your turn on that, right? And also give them a shield.
Yeah.
So they get to keep building that board, which is just like a great way for them to just start pinging in damage.
Also, we're not correctly saying in the top right corner here, you see the background, there's Prism Mike's face right there playing against Hayden.
Yeah.
This is a true Wolfpack head-to-head. The only one of the tournament. No, the second of the tournament. Is Sasha officially AP now?
I don't know.
Or did Brendan just steal his deck?
Well, I know this actually begs this is a whole question. So Arsenal Pass is a podcast with Hayden and Brendan.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of them.
Yeah. So
they're quite good.
But they are on a testing team that the Discord used to be the AP testing group.
Right.
But that does not mean that everyone on that testing group is Arsenal Pass.
Sure.
So particularly, my slant was towards Arsenal Pass, but Sasha's associated.
Yeah.
He tested with Brendan before the pandemic and before so Sasha worked for Legend Story Studios.
Sasha is the vehicle through which Brendan gets into Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
I actually heard that story recently.
Yeah. So anyways, they're at least associated. They're all in this very similar deck.
Yeah.
And Prism Mike got paired against Hayden. Prism Mike was ready. He was ready for that match. You can watch that stream, Channel Fireball. I do want to note here, they did phenomenal coverage throughout the weekend. Like all the commentators.
The commentators were exceedingly good. That is not easy. We've done a ton of commentary in our life.
And this was a long weekend.
And there were some old him mirrors where you just had to scrape the bottom of the barrel, and they did a really good job of keeping it at least entertaining enough.
Yeah, and they had 2 games going, and so they would stream the first one and kind of be recording the second, and then when the first one was over, they would switch to the next one. So it's just a phenomenal amount of work happening to bring these games, and Let Us Use It is also super cool. Also, whoever's behind their social media this weekend was doing an incredible job.
Really? We need to get Bryce to take notes, go review?
Well, I'll mention a few things they did when we get to them here.
Okay.
But they were doing really cool stuff. They had video clips from the games where it would be like key moments or whatever that were getting posted to Twitter and Facebook, and you could just like see those moments happening. They were also doing really funny stuff all weekend.
Yeah.
And they were very responsive. So anyways, just wanted to shout that out. But yes, Prism Mike was playing back there against Hayden, and he knew that the team's reputation was on the line.
Great. All right, so here you go. So you got the opening. So
this is how these games go bad.
Yeah.
If you go second and they have this kind of a start, especially like right here, if you just like, if I do anything that's not attack him and he drops an Arclight Sentinel,
yeah,
it can get really sticky because Genesis is going to stick around. They can trigger Genesis, get the shield, and then
drop another aura.
Start to run on you.
So he doesn't get the Arclight Sentinel here.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So you're kind of waiting on that to happen.
Yeah. Now I have a really awkward hand here. I have a Runic Reclamation, which I always say I like to block with it. Step 1. It gets through Herald of Triumph, right? It's at a 7, so even a -1 it's in. The other thing is, I do not like to play it when I don't have Go again. Because if I play this and I'm counting on it to get rid of Genesis, he blocks out, keeps 1 card, puts it into his soul with Genesis, gets the shield.
Yeah.
And this is how things get out of control, right?
Yeah. But you didn't have a hand that allowed anything else to happen.
I didn't have Go again. I didn't have 2 non-attack actions that I could play into an attack. So I'm considering what to do. I could use my boots. But once you start using the boots, especially if I'm using the boots and I don't think arcane damage is going to stick, I get 1 time of that. So I'm kind of weighing whether or not it's worth going ahead and spinning my boots, and how bad is it going to be if I leave Genesis on the table here. Another line I could take is just create a rune chant, swing the sword at Genesis to clear it.
But then he's got full hand coming back at you, right? So like a lot of times that doesn't accomplish much either.
Yeah, so I decided to threaten 7 and put a card in Arsenal.
And this demands a full block.
Yeah, and it depends on what's his hand. The thing about Prism is sometimes her hands do not block well.
You see that? Let's go back a little bit here.
What are we seeing?
Like, this is what I like to see so much. Watch the faces right here. Watch the exchange that happens between you two. Look at this. A little eye contact, a little laugh. It's like, what's going on there? Like, what are you guys like? Oh, well, I guess I got to block that, right? Like,
yeah. We had a great
Andrew
time.
had a great rapport on camera. There were so many good moments here that I was just happy to see. I think it's a good model just for, and there was a lot of those games that had that kind of a vibe,
Yeah.
you know, where it was just like, yo, we're having a good time, you know, like this is the pinnacle of the thing, of the play.
Now
And
this-
he has the sync too.
That's
Yikes.
the best it could be for him.
Yikes.
Because in my mind, I want to get 3 cards out.
Yeah.
Because then if
And
they
he's got a filter too if he needs it.
then if they trigger Genesis, they're top decking, and if they don't top deck a yellow, their turn isn't happening. But now he gets 2 options. So if he has 2 cards and he can put one under and keep a yellow in hand, that's like his ideal path here. This is going exactly how he wants it to go.
Yeah.
So he's triggering Genesis. He's going to draw a card because it's a light illusionist card and get a spectral shield. And if he has a yellow, he's going to start coming in hot.
Yeah. Yeah, that does not look good. Okay, just a CNC. That's not too bad.
Yeah. And I did put a card in Arsenal, of course.
Yeah, this is 2-card black. He's not threatening the pummel. He's got no arsenal going to the next turn. I'm actually you got to feel okay about this.
Yeah. I do. I don't remember what was in my hand at this point, but it's at this moment I do remember thinking like we're still in the middle. Like this game could go either way for me.
Yeah.
I blocked with the Force of Nature. I think I actually have a heroic in hand. So it's tough to give up that combo piece. Because Force of Nature heroic is where it's at. And I think what I'm going to actually end up doing is applying a little bit of pressure and clearing the Genesis. Even though I could have played the heroic. Yeah, there's a lightning search from Arsenal.
Yeah. You gotta love that. 4
and
with
again-
go again. That turns so many briar turns on. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the pressure here, of course, is like I'm always trying to fish for that embodiment token. Just makes so many of my like all my non-attacks go from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. If he does have Herald of Erudition, being able to get the 2s to 3 to pair with a piece of armor, also really good. But I'm just trying to plink damage out while I'm getting my embodiments and then clearing auras out. And hopefully getting to the point where he doesn't have auras.
Now hold on a second. I don't think I need you for this, Jonathan. I was gonna say let's hold off. I'm gonna hold off on the pops here.
So they're not covering the face.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go. I think just standard shot will do it. And if anything screws up here, I'm sorry, everybody. Okay. I think we're good now. All right. So I don't think we'll have any pops now, but I'll go back to the pops.
Yeah, the other thing is getting these spectral shields out. So, like, Prism doesn't like to block, actually. And once she blocks with a card or 2, her turns get, like, way worse. So he's not blocking here. He's soaking 1 of the damage. He's going to take 3. I'm going to get my embodiment, and you see I move up the armor.
You're okay with that.
I create a rune chant.
That's super solid.
I'm going to swing the sword.
You're going to hit Genesis, right?
Yeah, I don't need the non-attack to be played because I'm just clearing the aura. So the 2 arcane damage when the sword won't trigger.
Yeah.
The rune chant won't pop, so it'll stay around. It's just damage. I get a float to the next round to hopefully clear out some shields. And then I think I put a Mount Heroic in Arsenal. And I had the blue there. So I could have played Heroic that turn, for sure. But I'm trying to get max value out of it, right? I'm feeling like I need to create more of an advantage because I'm starting slow here.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so now we've got Soul Shield pitched into the Herald of Triumph. Is that right? We still have pops going on? We do still have pops going on.
No, not on the right screen, though. It's just the left.
Oh, right. Okay, great.
Yeah, it looks like he's coming in for 6.
Is this the one you had to read? There was one where I said under my breath, we got a reader, which I thought was funny because only I could hear it, and it was a joke for me. Attack actions are -1. Yeah, well, that one's attacking. So pretty standard, like just throwing heralds. I'm just going to fast forward this.
Yeah. Yeah, we can speed it up.
Hey, you thought about that one for a while. You just let that one hit,
Just let it hit, yeah.
Okay, and then here come the auras, basically. Okay, here's the erudition now. This is that, like, end of the thing erudition after you've taken all this damage because you want to get that big heroic turn, but you can't let the erudition hit, yeah?
You can't let that hit.
So you got to what? You at least your caps on now, so you hat plus a card.
Yeah. Or I may have saved a 6. We'll see. It looks like I'm going to use the hat. And, you try to get max value out of the hat when you can. So,
And surge
again,
at +1, yeah.
Embodiment getting me to 3 on that Earth or Surge, plus the hat, exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He's going to pay 2 to get his action. Or pay to get his action, create a shield with the resource floating.
And then swing 1.
Yep. And I'm just going to take the pings.
Okay, but you're digging out, though. There's only one aura in play.
This is totally fine. So my next turn, especially with Heroic, I'm going to pressure to get the Spectral Shields out. and then probably swing the sword at the Haze Bending, which will get him another shield. But if he doesn't have another aura in hand to play, I have Unburied from the aura reality.
And at that point, if you think about just the tempo and the pace of the game, you being able to get to a point where all of that table value has been removed is pretty disastrous for Prism, because that just means you're falling behind.
Yeah.
Like, you've just gotten behind in the game.
Yeah, he needed to keep playing auras. But part of the problem is that if you have more, looks like I'm playing Pulse of Candlehold, putting the Lightning Surge on top. I think I have a Rabble in hand, so I want to make sure I get max value out of that. And I think I also may have had a hand here where I didn't draw.
Oh, there's Force of Nature. Nice. So Force of Nature, Pulse.
No,
that's Force of Nature, Tome of Harvest. Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't Mount Heroic.
Man, Tome of Harvest did work for you this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, getting the embodiment and getting a fresh new hand is very powerful.
It's crazy too, because it's just 2 utility non-attacks. Now you have Go Again on your first swing. You know you've drawn into a Lightning Surge, which you can play for free with Go Again.
Yeah.
Like that's just good stuff. There's so many good lines in Briar.
It is fun to play.
You got opportunity. So much opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, back to
we're still on fast.
Okay, here we go. Every time I see an erudition, you got to stop, you know. So there's a Lightning Surge coming down with Go Again. Rinchant's going to pop.
Yep.
But Rinchant's continue to be annoying, right? Because it's just a Spectral Shield every time.
Yeah, and they really don't want to pitch for it. Because if you end up swinging the sword at the aura, it's not like there's floating resources for other arcane damage.
Yeah.
So it's a card for 1. It's never worth it.
Yeah, no way.
So just like the shields ping me for 1, it's pinging him for 1, right?
Yeah. And so both the shields go away. Lightning Surge hits for 2 or hits for 1. Ruin Chant gets blocked by the Spectral. You get an embodiment. You've done a couple of damage. You have Go Again, so you get to keep going here.
Yeah.
Use the Tunic, swing the sword, drop the last aura because you didn't get greedy.
Yep.
And you just kept destroying auras.
You just keep... It's too early to get greedy. There is a point against Prism where you start getting greedy because the value of clearing an aura is not worth the damage you're threatening or doing.
Yeah.
But I Arsenal, and then he's coming at me for 6. And, War Tune Herald is probably like... It's really cost efficient, but it's the least threatening. He's already got a card in Soul, so... there is value to that, because if you have auras out and you have a card in Soul, you can always pay 2 to create 1, and then now you have Go Again on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have auras out, right?
Yeah, and there's no threat from Arsenal either, too. These keep being 4-card hands, right? So it's like, okay, pop the aura, Phantasm, that's a fine use for Command and Conquer. I assume that's the majority of the match you're using it to block.
Yeah. You will play it sometimes, but a lot of times they'll sneak an aura into Arsenal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they do that, then Command and Conquer is like, not very good.
Yeah, exactly.
You swing for 6, and then they just play the card out of Arsenal.
Yeah. And then another aura. And see, it's these 4-card hands over and over and over. So pressure and heralds and choosing to skip on the aura plays here, like that Pierce Reality that's in the pitch zone.
Yeah, there's a Herald of Protection. I mean...
It's hard not to block that, right? It's hard not to block that. No cards in hand. You don't worry about Fractal Replication here. You got a clean 5 on, like, Grasp plus 3, or you've actually got Hat plus 4 block which you do have there, Grasp plus 3.
Yeah, I essentially had a Bramble Spark I wasn't gonna be able to fuse.
Mm-hmm.
So it was worth stopping the protection. Is the 5 damage plus the Spectral Shield, which is another damage he's gonna get a swing with, and also prevents 1.
You love that blue Ravenous Rabble, don't you?
Yeah, it does that a lot. I mean, I'm blue heavy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't get shook when that's the outcome.
Let's say it's just an attack, so you can get an attack, non-attack, and swing that sword. Let's face it.
And the embodiment of Earth there gives my Gloom Veil Go Again.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'm fishing for the embodiment too to make sure I give that Go Again.
And that's it.
Yep.
Because you don't have to worry about auras.
That's right. I cleared it out. Now he's got a fresh hand.
Andrew needs to get some bigger 5-card hands going here.
Yeah. Now he's got 2 cards left in hand. This is where it's really tempting to like block this with the 6. But if the Herald of Your Edition is the next thing that's happening, the only thing that's triggering here is it's going to Soul.
Yeah.
So that's totally fine.
Yeah, and another War Tune, keeping a card, this is perfect for him.
Yeah. Yeah, he finally gets out, right?
You take 11 damage, 2 things in Soul, and then he gets to Arsenal a card. That's real good. Or if it's a blue, he gets to double... no, he can only do 1 Spectral a turn, that's right. I was doing that wrong. How much would you say is the my expert play on Prism the week before you left for the Pro Tour, the reason you did so well in all these matches?
I think it's exactly.
Would you say it's the exclusive reason you did so well?
Like, I think so. Yeah, I think we could say that.
That's fair. I didn't want to, toot my own horn. I was just kind of curious how you felt about it.
I had a force of nature there. I used to block for 4 with the skull cap.
Yeah, you've done that a lot.
Yeah, and that you want to save it for your edition, but I'm also effectively making sure I get the value out of the hat. Because I have a sneaking suspicion I'm going to be ahead in the not so distant future, and then I'm not going to be able to block with it.
Yeah, because you fully caught up, and now it's just slamming. Love the good interactions there at the table as well. What kind of stuff are you guys saying right there?
Man, I don't even know. I'd love to hear it. I think I played that Lightning Surge from Arsenal, and he said, I think I've seen that somewhere, because I've done that multiple times now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So now we're sonating.
Here's the sonata.
2.
All right, now hold on a second.
Yep.
Hold on a second. This is the moment where I really knew that everything was right with the world. The reactions, first of all, I nearly cheered in the conference hall whenever I saw you hit the 2-2.
Yeah.
But then this camera look over here is really the key. Andrew taking it in good spirits, like, okay, there you go, you got your perfect sonata, and then we got it.
Because that turn. Obviously, way better.
It gets so good. You get E-strike and snatch. It's like you couldn't have asked for better.
Yeah, that's just such a good hit. I always say, literally, seriously, you've heard me say it so much, but I never count on Sonata hitting.
Yeah.
So even if my turn, if that misses, I still swing the sword for 2 and 2.
Yeah.
And he's out of ores, and I'm actually just threatening him. But then those 2 means that, obviously I get to play Revel, get the go again, get the 4 rune chance. I have the E-strike in hand now, or the snatch. So I play snatch. I'm going to get a save E-strike and put that in arsenal.
And 4 rune chance and snatch at 4 with go again.
It's just bag-breaking value.
Sick.
And like E-strike is a great card to have in arsenal, because sometimes you draw a Tome of Harvest.
That's an interesting decision just made. Sometimes continue, and then I want to come back to this play.
But sometimes you draw cards that you don't care about. So then E-strike for 5 with go again to start a turn is like a great place to be.
Now, so this is interesting. This is where I think it really turned, where Andrew, I think, starts thinking, I am losing too much health, and actually pitches a blue to block these 3 rune chants. And it's like, depending on, and that's an aura that I assume you could play next turn. I don't know what his hand looks like. But when you're dropping blues to block 3 rune chants that aren't doing anything but damage, like,
that's a problem.
You're starting to feel the pincer here.
Anonymous Arcanine asking a good question, saying why the go again attack before the Sonata instead of after? Very, very good question, and it's actually, there's a big reason, which is if I play the attack first, and then he now has a window to play Arclight Sentinel. If I don't start with the attack, if I start with the Sonata and I hit for 2, he, at that point, seeing what cards just went into my hand, can play Arclight Sentinel, and I can't do anything about it. But in this case, if I play an attack, no matter what he does, I can always instant in the Sonata with the Spellbound Creepers. So even if I come in for 4 and he Arclights or something, or does whatever, then I have a way out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. You got to play around Arclight Sentinel in a big way, which you're doing here.
Yeah, and then he has to use Soul Shield on the snatch.
Oof.
The Revel was just so good there. And again, getting to put that E-strike in arsenal is like a perfect setup card.
Yeah. So Soul Shield blocking a 4 with a 6.
Yeah, love it. And that was definitely the pivot of the game.
Yeah, but this is where it is shifted.
My play there, even if I miss, is Revel, create 4 rune chance, swing the sword, keep an embodiment for the next round. So even on the low roll of missing all the stuff there, it's still a perfectly fine turn.
Yeah. And then E-strike goes in arsenal.
Yep.
And let's look at this hand from Andrew.
Yeah, I think he's on a 2-card hand.
Yeah.
Which is
that's what I mean. So if you imagine that you still have the blue in hand, how does this change that you use to block? Because you got 4 available there. Yeah. So that's a parable there. So he
creates a shield and swings for 1.
Creates a shield.
Of course, I'm happy to take it.
1 card in hand. I'd be super curious what that is. What is that? Is that ALS? It almost was.
Parable of Humility is what he pitched.
Yeah, I was seeing what went into his arsenal there.
I think it might be ALS. So I think it
was like an all-aura hand then.
Yeah, and I think this is a really awkward hand for me. I think I was on Heroic and 3 other reds. And so I Ravel.
You see the blue, of course.
There's another blue.
You just got to make sure it's still there.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one hand where
we'll find out.
Once we find the arc light.
Yeah, I remember that hand. It's like you pitch all reds, 2 mountain heroics to play a heroic. Big decision here from Andrew. You know, when you're blocking a Ravenous for 2, like, you know, like, how are you going to catch up if you're blocking Ravenous for 2 here? That's tough.
Tome of the Arknight.
He may have had some really awkward hands too. So that's Tome of the Arknight or Tome of Harvest?
Tome of Harvest, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm ditching the E-Strike to draw 3.
Yeah, okay.
Which I've now played an attack and a non-attack, so swords online.
Yeah, swords online.
You know, I'm essentially digging, because if I can see a heroic here or something, that's going to be like send this one over the edge.
Yeah.
Bramble Spark, get my token. I'm fusing. Looks like a blue, either Break Ground or Evergreen.
It's Evergreen, yeah. Some laughs at the table. Good. So we've got a Tome, we've got a Bramble, we played a Ravenous already, we've got a Fused Bramble, we've got Embodiment to go again. Just nice sequencing here, honestly. So good. 3 cards in hand?
It's funny watching this back.
Yeah, here comes Evergreen, pitch to make a Rune Chant, 1 floating, and here comes the Gloomveil.
Yeah, so now I've got 2 embodiments. So it's coming in +3 from Bramble Spark with an arcane damage, and it's 7.
Oof.
With Go Again.
Yikes. So this is the Briar Pylon we're seeing here.
Yeah.
This is how, when Briar gets on top, it's very difficult to dig out of this. You haven't even seen a heroic yet.
Yeah, because the big hands get real gross.
Yeah.
It's a ton of damage, especially when it's at 19.
It's funny that your shirt, the NWO shirt backwards, looks like OWN.
Own.
Like own. Yeah, it's cool.
It is funny the feeds backwards like that. I didn't realize that until just now.
Yeah. Okay, so we're pitching another Soul Shield here. Wow.
Which is interesting, because, like...
It is interesting.
Oh, is that to play a Soul Shield?
No, what is that? Is that Erudition? In Sink Below? Why did we pitch... Oh, we pitched the Soul Shield to block the Arcane.
Yeah.
Oof. Yikes. And then 4 still coming in from the sword, etc. So 3 goes through, Spectral's broken. Man, Andrew's in a bad spot
and
here.
He doesn't have a hand, right?
Now it's just, can Briar not have French fries? That's essentially the whole game now, right? You feel like you can't lose this unless you have a really terrible hand.
Yeah, and she can. She can totally potato. So it's possible that would happen. But yeah, at this point, he's out of hand. There's no auras on the board. I'm 7 health up. I haven't seen any heroic, so if I do see a heroic, it's going to be like unbelievable. This is, I think, he puts a card in Arsenal, passes. I think this is the hand where he decides to Arclight. And it's like, oh, I have a really odd turn, right?
Not enough, is it?
I think what you'll see, I think I Bramble Spark to bait him.
Ooh, I like that.
I haven't seen him play an Arclight, but I've seen Arclight. And so maybe I don't bait him. I just swing for 7.
Yeah,
there's a moment where I think I bait him because if he has it, I want him to play it.
Yeah.
And after you fuse a Bramble Spark is like a really good time to play it. Arclight Sentinel.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 in value you're taking off the table.
Sure.
Just like straight up.
Yeah, because they can't get the attack buff, basically, yeah.
There's no auras on the table, so I'm just starting damage, right?
Just 7 damage.
Yeah.
You just have to take this. You just have to take it.
Yeah, which I know he does not want to block.
You have to try to get back in this game. Yeah, what's Andrew's out here, right?
I think Andrew's out is Heralds I have to block.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them.
We saw 1 Erudition block. We saw 1 played.
Yeah, if he can get an Erudition chain going. I don't think he has them in his deck, but Pummel on Erudition too would be like
pretty big deal.
Backbreak. So he takes a 7. I think he's got to because he needs. This is his last chance to build a board. Because that's a really tame turn for me.
Creepers are happening.
Yeah.
You guys are talking it out.
Yeah, as an instant playing that Whisper.
The Whisper, yeah. So important interaction, anybody at home, right? Whenever you use creepers on something that has Go Again on it, Go Again refreshes your action point. So because Dak doesn't have an action point, he resolves a Go Again at instant speed. It actually gives him an action point back.
Yeah, and this is a really common line. I really love the Spellbound Creepers.
And Andrew, I think correctly not... Okay, there's the ALS. Okay. Right, so now is the time. So he's taken 7, and then you come in, and now you just sort it. Yeah.
And part of the reason he does that is because the arcane damage won't trigger. Yeah. So I'm going to lose the boots. And the boots are like a really common way. At this point, he's low enough health it doesn't really matter. But the boots are like the way I should lose the boots, I think. Unless
Yeah,
did you take an arcane damage from something?
You guys try to work it out. I remember this. You talk like, did you do an arcane? I can't remember. Wait, no, did you?
Yeah, I think
Is
I was
that
like, I don't think I did an arcane.
I think the boots need to. Boots got to go, and Andrew's like, nah, you didn't do an arcane. Of course you didn't do an arcane. Get those boots out of here. You know?
Regardless of whether I did or not, I didn't trigger the counter, so it should go.
They gone.
From a rules perspective. And that's a big step for Prism if she had like 25 health left.
Mm-hmm.
But at 9, I can consistently do enough to just threaten lethal, so he's going to have to start blocking, which makes it really hard for her to ever play an aura.
And you can really just ignore the auras at that point.
Yeah. That is the problem. Looks like he played a Shimmers.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I can ignore it.
Yeah.
More or less. I might poke it. I don't know. But I think at 9 health, it's just gas time.
And there's two approaches there, too, where you could just continue to try to stay in control of the match. You could keep hitting the auras and not get greedy, as we say.
Yeah. It just depends on how much. Like, if I'm threatening just 9, 1 block out of hand is not enough. Like, I got to keep clearing. But if I can threaten 14 to 18 here, I'll just go for it. Because he's going to have to block with several cards, and he's never going to dig out of this.
Yeah. You've got your, I'm not sure this hand is good face here.
This may have been the awkward one.
Yeah. You're like, oh, here comes Briar with a potato sack. There's Enlightened Strike. Don't hate that.
I'm trying to remember when that awkward hand happened.
Go again for 5.
Yeah. Playing around the Arclight Sentinel, right? He's only at 9 health. So, like, 5 is this that's a lot.
Yeah. So if you lead, you got to lead with that attack. That's the thing is with ALS, if you do anything before attacking, they can bamboozle you.
Even if you like have an embodiment of Earth that pops, there's an instant window for them to play it.
Yeah. Is this something you learned over the weekend?
No.
Okay. All right, so there's the Ironhide plus a 3 block on Cataclysm there. So it's going to cover up 5.
He's down to 2 cards. You love to see it.
There's the Nimblism. So now Sword's online, and you got a Scar for 7. No go again?
No go again.
And no boots. So we know this is the end.
But he's on a 2-card hand. So this is a ton of damage for him. And that's where, like, this isn't really being greedy as much as it's just applying the pressure. He's probably got a block.
He's got a 0-cost Aura, surely, or something.
Yeah.
But that still means a 1 card in hand for Prism means 1 Aura swing max. Yeah. Because they can't get the yellow to pay for anything.
Looks like he kept 1. So it's either an Aura or he can pitch a yellow.
Yeah.
To create a thing and then swing with all 3.
Yeah, and that'll do.
But again, I'm at 22. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're not worried. And this is now Arsenal cards, so we can't swing more than once. We get 1. Shimmers gets a bonus. Is that Shimmers? Yeah?
Yeah, it's Shimmer. And I'm just taking it.
Yeah, of course.
Take 2. Roll on.
You got to feel pretty good here, yeah?
Oh, yeah, so good.
Is this how most of the Prism games went? About like this?
Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty... It started as... bad. If you see a heroic, it really pushes the things in your favor.
Yeah, it's crazy you haven't seen a heroic.
A lot of times I'll be on 10 to 15 at this point and still feel pretty good. Takes a lot. Once you get them on lethal, it's really just a challenge for them.
Yeah. So you're going 7-2, man. Yeah, you got to feel good here. You feel like you're tasting 8-2, which is that's a real record.
8-2 is a real record.
Yeah.
It really is, though.
Checking, did we have the embodiment of Earth? Did we do damage last turn? No, I full blocked the Enlightened Strike, and I full blocked the other thing. Whatever the other thing was that you did. What is it? Yeah. E-Strike into Nimblism Scar. Was Nimblism Scar full blocked?
I don't think so.
Blocked with 2 from hand. I don't remember.
I think we're verifying because he initially asked if I had the embodiment. Because he's trying to play an Arclight Sentinel.
Oh, to crack the...
Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did, and I'm pretty sure that this is how this works, but we'll just verify with the judge to make sure it's clean.
Right on.
And he's like, the judge wants to read it, so he's checking it out. This is the awkward hand.
It's a good time for it.
Yeah, it really is.
That's very fortunate, actually.
It may have been a different game where I played the fused Bramble Spark, showing the blue Earth card, knowing I could play the heroic. So if they do Arclight, you play the heroic and just swing the sword, and then you start the next turn with the heroic.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Good. And you don't have an embodiment to pop, so they can't do it again to you next turn.
You remember early on, a lot of people thought this card wasn't very good.
Arclight Sentinel?
Yeah.
Man. If you had 3 or 4 auras, that would be really painful.
LOL. All right, so that's Arclight, and now this is the awkward hand of the century. So you're taking a look here. What a fortunate time to have a really awkward hand, though.
Yep. It's perfect, honestly. So if I can play the heroic and just swing the sword, I'm totally fine with that. Because the downside of Arclight Sentinel is 3 of his cards just went to the pitch.
Yeah. Look at that. Snatch and 2 heroics to play a heroic.
Yeah, I found my heroics.
And then, yeah, swing the sword at it. It's so good.
Now, the risk here is that I'm going in no arsenal, right?
Yeah.
So I do have a heroic out, but this is what you never do as Briar.
You've seen the 4 non-attacks.
Yeah.
Too many
If you can
times.
prevent it, you just don't do this because, I mean, it depends on the attacks. Like Sonata, but like if I see Toma Harvest without an arsenal card, that's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just sitting there drawing up and thinking like, please give me go again. Mm-hmm. Give me anything with go again.
Looks like you're not unpleased.
Yeah.
A little hair toss.
This game, this game is not out of reach for Prism.
Yeah.
Especially if this turn I draw all potatoes.
Yeah, and you're like letting it go here, right? So you're like taking 4 or 5 there.
That's a sign. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if I'm taking the Shimmer for 3, then I drew gas.
Okay.
Maybe not gas, but at least some amount of gas.
And you got Tunic turn coming up as well. You've still got 1 block on the Arc Knight as well, the Grasp.
Yeah. I got 2 sitting there. So if I have a 3 block, I can cover up a Year Edition just in case.
Yeah. Relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Tunic and Grasp will cover up that Air Edition, and it would be his last Air Edition, which I think is like the game. Like once you get all those Air Editions out of here.
Looks like Prism Mike cleaning up
on
aisle 9 back there.
All right, so there's Enlightened Strike. Go again for 8. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's so gross. I've been at the receiving end of this many times.
Yes. Which is obviously super good. He's got 2 shields. If he doesn't block, he dies. His armor doesn't help either. Like 1 block on armor isn't enough to stop him from losing a card, so he's going all in.
Yeah.
Which, I love to see.
And you're basically trying to wait out the Mount Heroic.
Yeah.
And that's the whole game here. Because you got 2 cards in hand, you can't pitch 2 Earth. Well, I guess you could. You could figure out a way to do that. There's
You
Sonata.
definitely can.
Oof. All right. 1, 2. Nice potatoes. Andrew's happy with that one. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you never count on it.
That would have been devastating if you'd hit that.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Snatch for 7. Okay, still fine. Yeah, Andrew's like, okay. Well, that's not ultimately great.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously you hit like a Rabble there or anything that's got go again, Gloomveil, etc. You can make it get go again.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice. Nice having to come in here with armor. Let him cut my deck.
Footsteps, shield, tunic. Do you pay? He had to pay for that. Yeah, you pay for the footsteps. So that's going to take him to 1,
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Embodiment is created. Yeah, you got to feel poppin' now. Draw the card from Snatch, throw it in the arsenal. Yeah, this is good.
Once he's at 1, he has no cards in hand.
This is good. He swings for 3.
This is just
4.
butter.
Swings for 4 with that Shimmers. No go again, but still 4 damage. You're still going 11.
Yeah. It's not.
And you know how Prism doesn't die on 1 health. You've been there before.
That's definitely where she starts winning. Like, I got to 1, now the game can begin.
Nice.
Yeah, he's at 1. I mean, there's tricks that could happen, but
Andrew seems great. He's got a 5-card hand coming in here too.
yeah, Andrew was really fun.
Yeah. All right, embodiment cracks, no ALS.
Yeah, it's
okay,
like,
no
here, you got
good,
anything?
Good.
Which this is not a good time to arc. I mean, it's fine. He come back in for 5 with that Shimmer. So like, I mean, if he arc lights here, can come in for 5.
Yeah,
I mean,
you get down to 6. It could get weird.
Especially because he could technically arc light and have a card left.
Yeah.
So then he could have like a Year Edition and a yellow in hand, come in for 5 with Dominate, then swing for 5. It's never too late for things to go wrong.
It's never too. That's the story Pro Tour number 1 right here, isn't it?
But I think I've got unless he has some real serious business. I'm just going through my turn a couple times. And
This is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, I wish I'd done it later. Salt.
Okay, here we go. We got the Surge. And what's the goal here? Is it basically, if I do enough arcane damage, I don't have to mess with all of this? Or is it just play the best damage?
It's just play the best damage. So I'm giving Gloomveil go again. I'm getting max value. So it's coming in for an arcane and 6. He's got to pitch the arcane. He's got to block the 6. Now he's got 1 card.
Now you got Revel.
Swing the sword. I mean, it's just too much damage for him.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Yeah, there it is.
Awesome.
Man, we got it. Game 1 in the books.
All right, well, there you have that.
So then I'm at 8-2. Tournament's over. I make the top 8. Right? That's what happens next, really.
That's what happens next, right?
It's not. Next round, I get paired against Bryce. from Nebraska.
Bryce 1.0 or 2.0?
Our neighbors to the north. I think it's probably 3.0. He's playing Chain. We do the roll. I go first.
That's good.
This is good. And
Andrew Barnum saying I was hooting and hollering when Zach won. That's awesome, Andrew.
Thank you so much.
It was cool. I was watching the Twitch chat when I could, and there was a lot of awesome support in there.
Yeah, and the number of people that were like spectating live, you couldn't see them there, but like, and then also just congratulating me after that game was like super awesome. The support was definitely felt, and I have tons of stories from the weekend. But one of my favorite things is routinely people were walking up and just doing this and like wanting to do the Wolfpack sign. So it was really cool. And all the people that like stopped me and said hi and introduced themselves and we talked for a little bit is tremendous. I mean, it's such a lot of people were like, I'm sorry to bother you, but like it's such a privilege. Like it's so amazing that people care about what we're doing and are rooting for us. Like it's really awesome. But I play against Jeremy. Nope, that's Bryce from Nebraska. I play against another Nebraska guy next. Jeremy from Nebraska. But Bryce on Chain, I get to go first. That's good. He has a really epic turn, gets me to 2. And I have just enough. Like, I'm able to nuke his hand. He has 1 card in hand. And then, like, he basically has to decide between blocking the lethal or having not the lethal, blocking. And then he has 1 card in hand to take his turn, and he might blood dead himself. Or blocking. And he decides to keep the card, go down to 4 is what it was. But then he hit a ton of blood debt. Mm-hmm. And only had 1 card in hand, couldn't get it all out. So I blocked him out, killed himself to blood.
Oh, wow. So you beat a Chain.
Tails all this time.
Yes. Let's go. You're high flying at this point, right?
Yeah.
This is the best tournament performance, like just like
9-2
in a pro tour. You got to be like, I'm actually good at this.
Come on.
That was my first comment in the Twitch chat. I guess he's actually good at this game.
I guess he can actually.
Who knew he's good at this?
Yeah. But yeah, winning that game, I mean, and now all of a sudden, I mean, I knew I had to go 6-1, but I'm 4 down. Mm-hmm. I need 2 of the next 3. I don't know, man.
What could go wrong, man?
What could go?
What did happen?
Wrong.
Jeremy happens.
Yeah. So Jeremy happens, and I'm trying to find
Jeremy from Nebraska.
You know what? I think I may have lost a Chain.
That Chain? Which Chain? I feel like you did lose the match after the stream match.
I think I did.
Yeah.
So I must have blood dead the other guy. So Bryce would have been. The score is neither of us go to 0.
Oh, right on. Yeah.
And I assume that was like because it finished to blood debt. So that was me going first, and I still lost.
So you lost to Bryce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I played against Jeremy from Nebraska on Starvo, and that's the game I won.
Nice.
But that was inning. I remember that very distinctly because he got me to 1, and I had him on 1-1 for a minute.
You don't want that fuse happen. You can't let that fuse happen.
So if he ever gets to dominate, I'm done. And also, if I ever swing the sword and he doesn't have a Crown of Seeds, he's done.
Yeah.
So he has to arsenal every turn.
And he's at least swinging 4.
So there was like 6 or 7 turns in a row where I'm just like ripping cards out of his hand. And if I get him to 1, he just arsenals.
It's scary for Briar.
If he has 2 cards, he swings the hammer and arsenals. And then if he swings the hammer, I have to block and then also still have enough damage to at least get him down. And so we're going back and forth for several turns. It was really intense. And then I just had one hand that was too much. He had to block with all his cards. So then he has no arsenal. I draw back up. I draw the attack and the non-attack, and I'm able to swing the sword.
Isn't that amazing when you see it? When it happens, you get that, I love the feeling in this game.
So I squeaked that game out, and I'm sitting at 9-3.
Yeah.
9-3 going into the last 2 rounds. I need to win 2 in a row to make the cut. If I win 1 more, I'm definitely getting a PTI.
Yeah.
Which is like the spot you want to be in.
And just worth noting, Prism Mike did beat Hayden.
Live.
Prism beat Kano. Now, to be fair, Prism should always beat Kano from what I hear. That's what everybody says. Because they can't block the Heralds.
I think it's highly favored for Prism.
Yeah. So not necessarily spectacular, but congrats to Prism Mike. The only official, I think, aside from this game coming up, Wolfpack v Arsenal Pass moment. Mm-hmm. Hayden in actual, dedicated Arsenal Pass. And Prism Mike takes the win. So it's 1-0 in WP's favor.
Yeah.
Hayden obviously a fantastic player.
Sure. Yeah.
So you always got to feel good whenever that happens, right?
And then round 13. Sasha Markovich.
Number 13.
Yep.
Sasha's great, by the way.
Yeah, Sasha is really awesome and funny. So Sasha previously lots of success at Fab, then got hired by Legend Story Studios. most recently took a different opportunity and is now able to play the game again. And so he's participating using one of his many PTIs playing this tournament. And he and Brendan and Hayden all show up on Kano, which, as much as I want to destroy them, I can't help but respect.
I love the Kano, right?
Gotta respect the game on Kano, and the fact that he's around 13.
Love it.
On 3 losses is crazy.
It's actually one of the best Flesh and Blood players in the world.
That's not able to be argued.
Actually, I listened to, I think it was Flake's interview with Brendan about the origin story of Arsenal Pass and his involvement and stuff. And so, like, it's actually relevant that early on, when Brendan was first, like, kind of getting involved, his first event was in, like, he's in Texas area, right? And one of the events, like, James White was there. Mm-hmm. And he was like, hey, thanks for liking this game. And it was just like grinding to get anybody to play this game.
I think there was a call-in in Austin with like 30 or 40 people.
30 people, yeah.
The top 8 got cold gold tickets.
Yeah, dude. And Sasha was there, and Sasha and Brendan played, I think, in the top 8, and they did their thing, and then they started working together, and the Ninja Turtle thing came out of the Sasha Brendan thing, and so they both took that deck and had varying levels of success, a lot of success with it, and was really one of the first decks in Flesh and Blood that turned a hero on a different axis and really broke open a metagame.
Yeah.
I think the second time it happened was Dash with Pistols, Control Dash with Matt. That was another time when it happened, but so Sasha and Brendan Brendan started the game with Sasha as kind of a teammate.
Yeah.
And Sasha was like probably one of, if not the best player at the time.
Yeah, he's one of the best players in the game.
And so now he's back. So he got hired and now he's back.
Yeah,
and so also worth noting, Sasha, while working for Legend Story, was my main point of contact through marketing. And so a lot of the great stuff that we were able to do early was because Sasha's involvement and us working together. So Sasha was a joy to work with at Legend Story as well. So I have a lot of respect for the guy.
Yeah, and honestly, like being in a position where I'm at a top table at the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Late in the tournament, playing against Sasha, was like super awesome. Right?
Yeah.
Just in general, but then also because of the Arsenal Pass Wolfpack rivalry. It's like this is the moment.
Yeah.
This is the moment that I wanted and prepared for, and I was ready for it. I packed Arcane Barrier 3. Mm-hmm. I'm on a blue heavy Briar deck. I tested against Kano a decent amount. Mike almost pivoted to Kano off Prism. But he's Prism Mike, so what are you supposed to do about that? So when I saw Sasha's name pop up on my gym account, I was excited.
Yeah.
It's like I've been looking forward to this. My first game against Sasha is Pro Tour number 1, round 13, with the tournament on the line. Hype, and we sat down. I was like, man, it's a shame I'm not streaming this because they hadn't called us up yet. And then, like 30 seconds later, they were like, "We're gonna need Sasha Markovic So then we go over and we're on stream. So I'm so happy and debilitatingly sad that this game got captured on camera. But I'm excited to watch it back.
All right.
And this is a quick one. This is a quick game. Yeah. Well, it's Kano. What are you gonna do?
Take it to the tape.
So Kano only has 30 health. I'm on Arcane Barrier 3.
And there's Sasha up there.
My strategy going into this game is to chip damage. So I want to send like Ravenous Rabbles and Snatches at him, keep blues in hand, pay off as much of his damage as possible, set up a Mount Heroic. Like that's the turn I'm waiting to happen. And so to his turn 1, I mean, he's pumping with the you got a reader.
So let's talk about what Kano is trying to do, because a lot of people watching this, and I'm not a huge fan of Kano's kind of place in any given metagame, but having played a lot of Wizard, kind of understanding more of what the game plan is. Ultimately, what happens with Kano is you get a free turn during the game with your Storm Striders. And it's not just a free turn; it's a free turn that you can take whenever your opponent generally can't block much or can't interact with you. So the moment that your opponent has low cards in hand, no cards in hand, or you feel like they're on like a red or something where they can't activate their Arcane Barrier effectively, or if they don't have it, which is why these Kanos were running crazy, you can just suddenly do a bunch of spells. And the thing is that you have spells that say if you do damage with this, your next spell gets plus X damage, or X is the amount of damage dealt. Mm-hmm. So as Wizard, you're trying to find the right moment to crack those Storm Striders, play like an Aether Wildfire or Flare, and then stack up these damage modifications and then multiply them with Blazing Aether so that you simulate all the damage you've done throughout the entire turn, which can feel really crazy whenever it's like turn 3 and suddenly there's 35 damage being done.
Yeah.
But that's effectively the game plan. So you're trying to make sure you're not in a position where you don't have a blue or more in hand.
Yep.
But still able to pressure Kano a little bit and do some damage. Kano, if you don't pressure, is going to be able to do 4 or 5 arcane on your turn, or on their turn, and they're going to do 2 arcane damage if you pitch for it, and I have 1 less card, and I got to hold another card, so...
And they're ideal. They want to get Aether Wildfire in Arsenal. That's the card in Everfest that really set Wizard to a next level.
Yeah.
Because any damage it does applies to everything else for the rest of the round. And if the tail of your turn is Blazing Aether, that's what it's called.
That's the one that does damage equal the amount of damage done. Yeah.
So, if you can pump Aether Wildfire, 1 with the staff, 1 with the what the gloves are, the
Metacarpus
nodes, it's coming in for 6. So if you don't have Arcane Barrier, you take 6.
Yeah.
So everything you do the rest of the turn is +6. But Wildfire comes in and it's doing damage for every damage you've done, arcane damage.
The blazing,
so it's doing 6 because Wildfire did 6. It's also +6 because Wildfire is adding 6 on top of that.
Yeah.
And if you do even one thing in the middle, that comes in for 3 plus 6.
Plus 6.
Is now 9.
Yeah.
Which is 9, but then Wildfire is +9.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, if you do 6, 9...
So now it's 15, basically. So
15 plus the 6.
You've done
bonus.
15 plus the... It's
plus
just
the
like
Wildfire
insane.
6. So it's coming in for...
21,
Yeah, and that's if you don't pump other stuff with the same stuff. So...
it can just get out of control, but if you shut down the early Wildfire... And if they don't have 2, but if you shut down as much Aether Wildfire as you can, that's kind of the game plan, right? Yeah. Don't let them get that modifier.
And the other piece is, the more health you have going into that moment, the less likely they are to be able to kill you. And they really want it. A lot of times they're not blocking the turn that you're doing that. So he's, you see him here, he's playing Lessons in Lava. And this is one thing that's kind of unique about their version of the build. So he's coming in for 4. He has the staff. I have Arcane Barrier 3, kept my Spellbound Creepers. Pitching, I have a blue and open hand, so I'm pitching, taking 1. Lessons in Lava is letting him search his deck for something that costs 1 or less, which is all he wanted. He's just looking to get that card.
I'm going to get another Lessons, probably. He's trying to hit a Lesson to guarantee he gets what he needs on the top of his deck, right?
Yeah, and Lesson gets into a Lesson.
Yeah.
So that the goal, I think, is to get me under 30 health.
Yeah.
Before he's ready to really go off.
And then if you do take 2 or more, you can get the Wildfire guarantee draws. It goes into Arsenal, or you can put 1 on top. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah. Kano's wild like that. But you're over there, like your face there, you're laughing about it. Sasha looks very serious.
He was very serious.
Yeah.
After the game, he's like, sorry, I'm so serious. Like, it's all right, dude. That's why we came.
I love it. All right, let's fast forward here because there's going to be a lot of Kano thinking usually in these games. So your goal here is like, don't ever pass to the end phase without at least a blue in hand, maybe 2.
I mean, because the turn Kano really wants is the back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
So he goes on his turn, he drains you of your blues and does damage. Then you don't draw it before the end of your turn. So if you don't have any blues left, he's got a turn where he can really hit you hard.
Yeah.
So ideally, I can just prevent damage and make sure I have a blue left coming into my turn that I also don't need to spend.
Yeah.
So, and I had a ideal opening hand here. It's a Bramble Spark, I believe.
Sonata.
Yeah. I think I'd have hit a Bramble Spark in a second.
And this is, it's stressful to pay for that, you know? Because even now, he could have Wildfire in his arsenal and have a 4-card hand of 4 blues and potentially just try.
Yeah, but I think if I'm pitching a blue, it probably signals that I've got a blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a serious mind game, which we'll get to in the big turn in a minute.
Yeah.
If you're confident enough to pitch a blue there, then
you're saying I have at least 1 more in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, Wizard doesn't really like to play into a hand you're going to get to draw back up before they draw back up. So this is not a turn. Yeah, there's the Bramble Spark. Fusing, so I get the token. Here comes Gloomveil. It's going to be an Arcane +6, but if the Arcane hits, it'll create Embodiment of Earth, which is actually going to pump the Gloomveil to 7.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really great start, because he doesn't want to block it. This is just not something you want to block. And I'm just chipping in damage, right? And I'm going to have a card in hand. I have a resource floating. Swing the sword. Still have a card in hand.
And look, I mean, it's 21. You know, like, and Kano does
he's down to
not want to
17.
block. He's down to 17 already. So that's like Briar can kill a 17 health.
Oh yeah, in a single turn.
Yeah.
And I'm at 39. It's unlikely he's going to be able to combo out of that. He really wants to get that tunic online before he starts rolling. So he's using Kano. And he has some good hits here.
Yeah, that's Aether Wildfire right there. Man, at this point, that's crazy. So you've got Wildfire on top. You've got to honor that in a big way.
Yeah.
Right? You just can't let this get out of control.
Yeah. Now, it's... I think he's doing this during his turn, and that's what I was reading, because Aether Wildfire's bonus doesn't apply on his turn.
Right, that's right. So this is just chip for 4.
Yep.
It's actually not when he wants to see that at all, then.
Yeah.
Not at all. I always forget. I only ever play it on my opponent's turn, so...
What up, Gobbler? There.
Yeah, what about, you got a deck list or anything? Is it anywhere?
I haven't, but I have posted it before. We'll probably be looking at the deck in a minute. I'll try to post it this week.
All right, so chip for 4. You just take that?
I think I do.
Yeah, I think that's completely right.
Yeah, but I think I have a blue in hand, and I'm just kind of waiting.
All right, here comes the other lesson. For 4, you're going to block that with a blue. Surely it's going to hit for 1 and probably get another lesson.
Yeah.
I don't think it's time for reverb.
I think he's continuing to test the waters. I think he's got a card in Arsenal, so he may already have a Wildfire in Arsenal.
If anytime you see it for more than a couple of turns, it's Wildfire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm essentially weighing what I'm willing to let happen here, but I go ahead and pitch the blue Tome of the Arknight.
Got that Tome there. And is your sideboard into Wizard just as many blues as you can get in there?
Yeah.
The rest will take care of itself. Just don't die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the
Arcane
idea.
Barrier 3 and then just don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's...
Which is the right approach. Yeah. So lesson goes on top. So that's the third lesson.
Yep. I just
Man, I can't even imagine with no Arcane Barrier or Arcane Barrier 1 how devastatingly good this deck is.
Yeah, it's the version of Kano we were testing was not this.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
there's the switch.
It's the Jordan. Hold on. This is one of my favorite moments on stream. I love this so much.
You play Rabble, you
look
build
at
the top
this
card
guy.
of your deck. And it's -1 for whatever the resource pitch is of the top card. It is never Gorganian Tome.
Never,
you know
right?
I mean?
I love it. The joy. The raw joy. And it's just 1 damage, but...
Yeah, and ironically, though, I would have rather that been a blue.
Yeah.
I would have had 2 Rabble like earlier we saw in those games against Prism, and known that a blue was coming in hand, and also him knowing that I have a blue.
Yeah, so this is the crazy thing here is like he knows now that you have a card in your hand that is dead to AB.
Yeah.
Like you can't pitch for AB, so that's relevant for sure. So 5 damage coming in.
Yeah.
And again, Kano probably just takes it, right?
Yeah. Because I still have cards in hand. Get the embodiment, it doesn't matter. I get it, though, because I have to. It's not an optional trigger.
Yeah.
And he could technically have Scour and blow up my auras. Mm-hmm. So, from a rules perspective, I'm honoring that, basically.
Yeah. Right, because you probably don't expect an attack.
Yeah.
All right, so here comes the Burgeoning. This is pretty... You've got 1 in hand.
Yeah.
Got a blue in hand.
So, it is a blue Burgeoning. And again, he didn't block, right? The Rabble. So I assume he's not wanting to block. He's going to have his Tunic. And this is the turn he wants to back-to-back. Mm-hmm. He wants to ping me, get me into the 20s.
Man, even right here, I would be scared. You got 1 card in hand, and it's a blue.
Well, the card in hand is Mount Heroic.
Okay.
So, but I know he doesn't have the Tunic online, right? Mm-hmm. And he didn't back-to-back. So he could go here, but it's unlikely, especially because I have a floating resource.
Yeah.
And if I do have a blue in hand, it's just he can't waste a turn on that.
Yeah. Because it's got to go once he uses the Striders, he has to win.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we expect some chip here.
Yeah. And then,
Here's the Tunic.
Can you pause for a second?
Yeah.
So I put a Heroic in Arsenal. And so my hope is that I'm going to see a lot of Earth Blues here.
Yeah.
And that he's going to try to do a back-to-back. And if he does a back-to-back, I either prevent a lot, or my playback is play Heroic, pass.
Yeah.
And then that way he's done his stuff. Mm-hmm. I've got a Heroic out. And now I just need anything to happen for it to kind of be game over.
Yeah.
And then we'll carry on. So, and this is a wild
final
turn,
lesson,
honestly.
huh?
So he triggers Kano, sees Gaze the Ages. That's a great thing to see. He does it again, and he sees a Tome of Aether.
Oh, damn. Oh my gosh. That's exactly what you want.
It's super good. So this is actually a really complex sequencing reality that if you don't play against Wizard, you might need a second to understand it. But he can play these as an instant. And when you play an instant, you can maintain priority, which I didn't really understand until about a month ago. So you can essentially play the tome, enters the stack, maintain priority, play the gaze on top. Gaze recognizes that the tome is there. So gaze is actually going to pop back to his hand and let him opt to.
Yeah.
So he's opting, and then gaze will resolve, pop back up. Tome will resolve, he can draw too, but he can actually instant before the card draw even happens at this point. So he can opt. He can instant Kano and then draw. So he's going to instant Kano again. He saw the Voltic wanted it, saw the potion wanted it.
And then draws the 2.
And then draws the 2. And then he's going to play the potion
as an instant. Yeah, just to understand the sequencing there. So like everything in Flesh and Blood is announce the card or announce the ability, pay the cost of the thing, and then announce any targets that happen. And at that point, the thing is played, but it isn't resolved yet. So at the time of play, we have a moment where that window opens, and both players have to pass before it resolves.
Yeah, and
so you keep playing into those windows before the initial thing resolves.
That sequence of events is probably the worst thing that could have happened for me. Yeah. Like him hitting gaze into tome, into potion, into Voltic for 6 is like perfection.
That's about as good as you can ask for there.
So now he's pumping, now he's playing Voltic, it's going to come in.
6th chip is good. And he's got 1 in Arsenal, you assume it's Wildfire, so that's tough.
And this is the hand that I have. Okay, so I know he's got the potion and the tunic now, right? He wants the back-to-back. I'm looking at Gorganian Tome.
No pitch.
Yellow Whisper of the Oracle. Snatch. And another Mount Heroic.
Yeah, so no blues.
No blues. I'm just verifying Ragamuffin so that I know what I'm getting into.
And that's kind of a good innovation for this deck, the Ragamuffins play. It gives them a lot more reach on those kill turns.
And we'll see. Obsidian saying how this game ends up swinging is understandable. I couldn't see the cards from the spectator.
Yeah, because here's the thing right here, right? You cannot block this with a red and a yellow, because that is such a signal to Sasha. He knows.
So he was telling me after if I had pitched yellow here, that he would assume I had a blue in hand.
Huh.
And I have no idea why that's true.
Wow.
But if you're watching, leave a comment.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's really critical is 26 to 28 is when Wizard gets into a lot of hands that can kill you.
Yeah.
So what I'm weighing right now is if I pitch even the yellow, because there's a part of me that's like, well, I could Gorg Tome, hope I see a blue at the start of my turn. But if I know he's trying to back-to-back, the resources next turn are actually so much more valuable.
Absolutely. You got to block the Wildfire.
And I think he knows I know that, right? And then you get into a little bit of the game theory here. But anyway, so he's coming in for 6. I'm at 34. It's close. I would kill to have a blue in my hand right now. I go ahead and take it. So I take 6. I'm down to 28.
Yeah. And that's interesting because you could see is that a signal that I don't have good resources in hand, or is that a signal that I'm willing to take 6, still swing, and have 2 blues in hand?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hard to know. Sasha's got a soul gaze to figure that one out.
Yeah. All right. So here's the turn. This is the turn, and I'm looking at it, and I play a Whisper. Now pause this for a second.
Okay.
Yellow
Whisper comes in.
I essentially really only have a couple choices. I can play Yellow Whisper, opt 3, and basically guarantee there's a blue on top. Gorganian Tome. This is the line I ended up taking. Gorg Tome creates an embodiment of lightning. Draw a card. Know I have a blue in hand. Snatch with Gogan. Swing the sword with Mount Heroic. And he's going to have to do something about that's lethal.
You force the back-to-back there, yeah.
With a blue in hand. So if he decides to go off, I can at least throw a blue at it. If Snatch hits, I get another card. So if I put 2 blues on top and Snatch hits, that's really good. The decision to play the Whisper is effectively I'm bluffing. Whether or not he picks up on the bluff, I mean, it's a good question. He obviously doesn't.
Because he knows you got Gorg Tome, so there's 2 cards that are potentially blocking Arcane Barrier.
2 unknowns. But playing Whisper to me, my hope was that it signals he's got a blue. Because if you run the math, he's got a potion and the tunic, so that's 1 free cannon trigger. Let's say he has Aether in Arsenal, and you play the Aether for 2.
Crucible and Metacarpus.
So you're going to have to pitch, plus you Metacarpus and Crucible. So now you're going to have to use another card. So he's going to get 1 or 2 Kano triggers, and those things need to be things that do damage. But I was running the math over and
tones.
over. And I was like, well, if he thinks I have a blue and he's coming in for 6 on Wildfire and I pay 3, he does 3. Let's say the next thing does 3. So it's +3 from Wildfire. Now that's 6. And then let's say he has Blazing Aether. And he has to hit it at this point.
Yeah.
Because I think he just had the Arsenal Wildfire, right? So
Yeah.
he would have to hit it, but let's just say he does. And so if he does 3, 6, Wildfire comes in for 6 plus boosted from thing, so 9, that's 15. Like if you got a blue, you're really just not there. If I don't block at all, though, he can easily kill me.
Yeah.
So I played trying to bluff the fact that, like, I'm so confident that I've got a blue. But what I actually end up doing, besides making the worst mistake I've ever made on camera, is I play the yellow. So now he knows if he lets the Gorgonian Tome trigger, I've got a blue.
Yeah. It's guaranteed.
So looking at the health totals, actually, if I honestly just slow down and process it, he almost has no choice but to go off when I play Tome, but before I draw. Because if I do draw and I have the free action point, the card and arsenal, everything going on, he's probably just dead to rights.
Yeah. He can't. He has to. You force him to take the chance.
Yeah. So it's almost like when you're bluffing that you have like a straight flush, right? You go all in, but then like your opponent is in a position where they don't have a choice but to accept the bet.
Yeah.
It's not really a bluff anymore.
Right.
So instead, what I end up doing is sending the yellow pitch down, and I can't even pitch it now. But now we can watch this play. This,
I'm sure it's
turn
painful.
play.
Yeah. I'm sure it's painful. Yeah, we've talked about this play a lot.
Yeah, so I see
These plays.
what's on top, and I actually make another mistake here. I'll walk through the ideal lines in a second, but I play Gorgonian Tome, which creates the embodiment of lightning, and he's like, "Hey, before you draw, I'm gonna have an instant moment," and he's thinking, and I don't know what would have happened, but
And you're sitting on 2 reds here,
2 reds.
so this is just horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh no.
Now, yeah, and it's bad for that reason too, because if he calls my bluff and goes for it and I have to pitch the reds, my turn is not enough to do lethal.
Which we know he has to do that. Like,
Yeah.
he has to.
Now, if I play this and he lets it resolve, obviously I win.
Yeah, it's a win.
Like, it's a total win. So it's a total bluff too, though, right?
That's why Sasha won't let it happen.
If it is 2 reds, and I'm willing to do this, in my mind, it's like he knows I'm putting the game on the line if that's true. Mm-hmm. And like, why would I ever do that?
Right.
Right? Because this was like my guaranteed path to victory. I just didn't slow down long enough to realize how much more obvious.
All right, so let's just take this at normal speed, at least for our friends at home. So pay 1, activate starters, so now you can play a non-attack as an instant. Crucible is an instant, so your next spell is going to get +1. Then we're going to play the Wildfire. It is from Arsenal. It's been there the whole time. We're going to pitch a yellow Sonic Boom. We're also going to activate Metacarpus Nodes for +1, so that's coming in at 6. Welcome to Kano, and you have to reveal that you have 2 reds and then pray for rain, basically.
Because if I don't stop 2, like he's still got to hit a Wildfire, right? In my mind. I'm also going to draw
Blazing.
Gorg. Yeah.
And that's the Ragamuffin's reality. So if he has Blazing in hand here, Ragamuffins allows him to put it on top of the deck.
Yep. Which is why the Ragamuffin is so powerful, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Because a lot of times people play the Talismanic Lens, which lets you look to see if it's there. But if you have it in hand, you can force it to be there.
Yeah. And you probably carry that for a couple of turns if you need to make sure that happens. Yeah, you're looking at it, and then Sasha's eyes have got to light up when he sees 2 reds here.
Yeah. Because, if I have a blue in hand, right? I pitch a blue,
Goes
stop
to 3. Yeah.
and then it's game over.
Yeah.
But the fact that I haven't already pitched a blue is a good sign for him. Mm-hmm. Why isn't he doing it yet? Called my bluff. So I pay 2.
Yeah.
Take 4. Mm-hmm. So now everything he does is +4 for the rest of
Sasha's
the round.
gotta love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're like, strap in. Hope this goes okay.
Yeah. Now he still had an opportunity to lose here.
Yeah. So we assume Blazing in hand and Ragamuffin, so we've got to get down to 1 card.
Yeah, so he's pitching 3.
So activate
Kano.
and then
it triggers Ragamuffins. And he's literally saying, I don't remember what it was. I think he needed it to be...
Yeah,
At
you
least the yellow?
see that Sasha? You see that Sasha
Yeah.
movement there?
It's basically anything but a red. Because he has the floating tunic.
Yeah.
So, because he needs to put the blazing on top and be able to pitch to Kano to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So watch this Sasha head movement there. It's kind of like that. Well, got it. You're like, we did it. Yeah. So then we banish the blaze. It's blazing down there, isn't it?
No, it was Lessons in Lava.
Lessons, yeah.
Yeah. So then he gets to play Lessons to get the blazing.
Sonic Boom, that's a yellow. Wow, he wasn't even that flush. Dang. It's very fortunate. So now Lesson coming in for 4+4. Yikes.
Peter's saying he thinks a blue would have prevented 12 damage here, he thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So then he does the damage. And now Lessons is coming in for 7.
Seiko gets blazing, and yeah.
Yeah.
He needs money, and he's got Tunic and Pot, so he Kanos again with onboard, and then he blazings for.
And he got the blazing to 8
12.
because he can use the node still on this turn.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
But he also he's out of hand here.
Well, he's got a potion and a tunic.
So it's coming in for 12+4. It's perfect.
It's 16.
It's
Exact
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah, it was one resource short.
Oh, and your dreams. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Brendan here. I think is it the Brendan? But Blue presents 15 here. Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, because it would be 3 off of Wildfire, 3 off of Lessons, 3 off of Blazing, plus 3 off of the bonus from Blazing. It's crazy.
So at this point, you feel okay until you think about it later.
So, I mean, at this point, I'm literally thinking, I run Arcane Barrier 3. If I just have a blue in hand, and the top card was red. So people were talking, I saw people chatting about this after. Mm-hmm. If I played Tome and he lets it resolve, I draw a red. Mm-hmm. Not that relevant. I opted it was a red and 2 blues though. So at the time, it's like, okay, well, and this is part of what makes game footage so helpful to see where you make mistakes. It's really easy with 23, 24 blues in deck to be like, oh, if I just had a blue, I win the game.
Yeah.
Because it's true. If Heroic there is just a blue instead, this game's out of control mine.
You feel good that you can threaten 7. Oh, I know it is the Brennan because he said heuristic. Yeah, but he won't stop saying it's like honey to a bee.
Yeah. I think he has it tattooed on it.
Yeah. Right.
So it's really easy to just be like, well, if I just had a blue, I would have won that game. Move on. Which is true. If I had a blue, I think I win that game. Or if he hits a red on that last flip.
Yeah, that's a good way to be bad.
Yeah. And, you go back to that last turn where he hits Tome and Gaze. Like, that's just, like, ideal turn before setup for this to the back-to-back. But realistically, I think there's 2 moments where this turn went really wrong. First, even after playing the Whisper, Seam was on top. This would have been a better line. He let that resolve. He let me keep going. Play Snatch for 4. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a weird pattern when you're playing against Kano because all your equipment is just Arcane Barrier.
Yeah.
So the whole reason Creepers is in the list is for instant tricks.
Okay, so we're here. So you play the Whisper. It does resolve, so we let that resolve.
Yeah. Stack of blue on top, right? Easy peasy. He lets that resolve. I've still got 3 cards in hand. He knows one's a Tome. He's not going for it yet, right? So even if here I just play Snatch, a couple things happen. If he decides to go off on Snatch, I can pay 1 with the Spellbound Creepers, let's say Mount Heroic, play the Gorganian Tome as an instant, get my action point back, get an Embodiment of Lightning, draw a card, it's a blue.
Yeah.
So now I have the blue to pay.
Before his Striders resolve.
Before his Wildfire resolves.
Yeah.
So Striders, Wildfire's played, then I instant on top of that with Tome. Mm-hmm. I get to draw the blue. Now I can pay the resources to cancel the 3 damage.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so clean.
So like right here, you see that there's a blue there, yeah.
Yep. But the ideal play, the safest play, and I think 100% wins me this game, Snatch. Because he could have gone off here before I played Snatch. I can't use Creepers unless I've attacked.
Yeah.
So if I just play Snatch, even if a red is on top, then he has to decide to block or go off.
Yeah.
If he doesn't block, then I'm going to draw a card.
Sure.
Then I can Creepers, right?
Yeah.
Play the Tome as an instant, draw another card.
Yeah. And now we're still in the turn.
And he's got a problem.
Yeah.
If he decides not to go off, it hits you Creepers, and then he's still got a problem. But yeah, I definitely should have Snatched, and then I can Tome after the Wildfire. get my action point back. And if I pitch a blue, like we said, I don't die. If I've got resources and an action point, I pop the quill hand to get 2 rune chance, swing the sword, 2/2, game over.
Yeah.
Easy mode.
What do creepers say? So can you use creepers before snatch resolves? Basically, does creepers say if you played an attack or if you've attacked?
Creepers is an instant.
Yeah.
And it says if you've played or I think it's played or blind.
Yeah, check out if that's what it is, because it's actually so relevant. I'm actually understanding the rules better than ever these days. I guess Wizard kind of makes you do that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of its benefit.
Put a bind counter on spellbound creepers. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn.
And I don't think you've attacked until after the attack is actually resolved. I don't think. Is that not true? So playing an attack is considered attacking even before it resolves?
Yeah.
Okay. Love it. That's good to know. So the moment you've announced paid the cost of an attack action card, you have attacked.
You have attacked.
Okay. Yeah.
Now it's different with a weapon though. That's where the nuance is. It's the same reason that if you attack an aura with a weapon and you have a rune chant, the rune chant pops. Mm-hmm. But if you attack with a weapon, the rune chant doesn't pop because until the weapon,
the ability resolves to create an attack on the stack.
Yeah.
But attacks attack onto the stack directly.
Yeah, immediately. Huh. So yeah, it's pretty devastating, right? 9 and 3.
See, Grant Sand, I think this is right. You haven't attacked until you get to the actual attack step. Ryan Ripper saying that's not true. This is classic Flesh and Blood, classic card games. There's a window after it's played and before it's attacking, which is interesting because I didn't think that was true. For the same reason that.
So I can play Snatch, and there's a moment where Wizard can instant, but I can't use the boots.
Yeah, where you haven't attacked yet, basically. So I don't know. I think there has to be some resolution. I think Snatch has to resolve for it to be attacking. What is can you read rune chants to me? Because I think rune chants are the thing that ruin everything. I think it's play an attack action card is how they trigger, not when you attack.
When you play an attack action card or attack with a weapon.
Yeah. So when you play an attack action card, it happens immediately, but attacking doesn't happen immediately. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. So if I play Snatch, then that makes that the only play. Even if I play Whisper, if I play Snatch, he would have bojangled me with the rules.
Yeah, for sure.
So if I play Snatch and he comes at me, I can pitch the yellow Whisper and the Mount Heroic for 3.
I think you just hold the yellow.
Yeah, and then Snatch, at that point, if he goes off and doesn't win, Snatch hits. I draw a card. I use the card to pitch to play the Gorgonian Tome. Draw a card. Pop the quill hand. Swing the sword for 6. Game over.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, so that was the line to play, and it's you see when we get to this turn, I took my turn pretty quickly actually. Yeah. After he passes to me, and I was really obsessed with I need to draw a blue. I need a blue, and I need to get there quick. And literally, I played the yellow, being like, he's going to think I have a blue because I played the yellow. There's no way you play a yellow if you don't have a blue. But if you actually slow down and just walk through, what card could I play right now? You have 4 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just stop and think about it.
I'm not playing Heroic, right? That's not happening. I can play Gorgonian Tome. I can play Whisper. I can play Snatch. Yeah. And if I really thought it through, it's like, well, I play Snatch, and he goes off, I can pay 3 still. Yeah. That's the check mark.
Yeah.
I can 3 is the max. I can pay 3.
Yeah. Make sure you can pay 3.
And if he goes off and doesn't block Snatch, I'm going to draw a card. I can instant in the Tome and swing the sword. That's a great line.
Yeah.
Whisper, technically, I can put a blue on top. If I play Tome and he allows me to draw, I probably have the game in hand.
Yeah.
But if he goes off and he has the goods, which is turn 3 or 4, maybe he doesn't have the goods.
Maybe he doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, so that's also a lot of times, it's I go both ways on it. It's really easy to think your opponent, especially Wizard, always has the tools. But I found that, a lot of times they don't.
Yeah.
And so early on, right, maybe he's got 4 reds in hand.
Yeah.
So in the
he was actually had a ton of sonic booms there. Yeah, he didn't have tons of blues.
So that's what I'm saying. Him hitting the potion last turn and doing what he was doing is really good for him. And even the Voltic for 6 is that's ideal.
Yeah.
But I'm at this point I was not playing scared of Wizard. Mm-hmm. I had 2, and a lot of times even 2 is fine enough. Yeah. But the problem on my line is that even at 2, I don't have Snatch anymore if I do that line. So I'm not going to be able to threaten lethal. So even if I don't die, if he gets me to 10, and also I can't threaten lethal, that's really in kill range for Wizard from now on.
Yeah. Like just from random...
Yeah, just his turn. Like, he can just do whatever he
reverberate
wants,
into
right?
X or whatever.
It's really not good. So yeah, the line I ended up picking was not good, but there's an element of it too where it's like he has to have the goods right there.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where he could have missed, but I think the weakest part of my line is that I also didn't have an attack to play.
Yeah.
If he does go off. So I was risking a lot.
Yeah. Safest play for me, though, that's why I think I texted you afterwards, is like, just play the Gorg Tome up front. Not ideal. I mean, that's not great. But even like, I don't know, if you're looking at 2 reds and a yellow, and it's like, there's probably, like, there's a decent shot, there's a blue on top. Play the Gorg Tome. It can't do me any good on Arcane Barrier anyway. I don't give Sasha any information. And then it's like, does he really want to let you filter into a new card and go to a 4-card hand that now can block rather than the one Gorg he knows can't? It's like, just play the Gorg, and then like if he does go off, you have 3 still in hand that you can block with. It's like devastating because it's like that same play we talked about it this morning of a long time ago in Monster Apocalypse where I had the perfect play that would have won me the game, and I just missed it entirely. I was in an old habit of thinking about things, and it's so devastating to watch this back. How does it make you feel? Are you captivated? Are you like encouraged, or is it like I'm so stupid? Why did I do this? You know.
So it was literally 2 days later, morning we were leaving in New Jersey. I was showering, and then I was thinking, this game is what's on your brain, and I was just like working through the hand, and it was like, well, what if I snatch and he goes off? The other thing I have now is the benefit of knowing exactly how much damage he's doing. He's doing 28. So
28 precisely.
28 through my 2. Right? So perfect. Now hindsight's 20/20. The play I think I could have. The smartest play is snatch, straight up. Because if he lets it hit, I draw a card and I can Gorgonian Tome and swing the sword.
Yeah.
So if he does go full tilt, I just win the game. If he doesn't, let's say he blocks. Well, I can still now instant in the Gorg Tome. Actually, I instant in the Whisper.
Yeah.
Play the Gorg Tome, draw a card, have an Embodiment of Lightning, either swing the sword or play with the attack that I drew off of that. So the one of the upsides with creepers is you can just start with the attack. I do it all the time. Play Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Pay 2, have 1 floating. Just see what they do.
Yeah, it's so good. It's devastating.
And then you get to go from there. So in terms of, it was on my mind, and then once I realized I had the line, that I do not think there's an out for Sasha at that point. You're sitting at 9-3. I could have so easily been 10-3.
Yeah.
With 1 game left and it's a win in. Sasha got paired against a Starvo in the last round. I'm pretty comfortable with that match. So like I was very close. Very close.
Yeah.
After this game I lost, I ended up getting paired actually against Shane, who know from the Star Wars Destiny days.
Game. What do you think?
Yeah. Shane is often with the Hyperloopers.
Really?
From the Star Wars Destiny crew.
Yeah, okay.
Love Shane. He's on Chain. We rolled. He got to go first. Had a really tight game. And then he just had a mega... His Shackle 3 and 4 turns were like almost all hits. And I had probably the best Briar turn I've ever had against him.
It's depressing that you still didn't win.
And I still lost. And it was because he had one of the best Chain turns I've ever had afterwards. But it was a super close game. Love Shane. Played the game. At this point, I lost again. Now I'm 9-5 after being so close. And ultimately, at the end of the day, like I said, I came in thinking I could lose every game, not even make day 2. And I came into day 2 at 5-2 with like an outside chance to maybe get somewhere. Like against, now you're down to only people with winning records that are at the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Not an easy field. So after it was over, like I felt pretty good actually. Like 9-5. Don't feel bad about it at all. Yeah, it's a bummer. That play, that turn, that game seems so winnable in hindsight. But then the other part, I ended up finishing 33rd, so that was also a hit. But still, there's a lot of people that finished way worse than 33rd.
Yeah, sure,
and
sure.
I don't feel bad about it. Really at all, but it's very motivating.
Yeah.
The number 33 is in my head. Like, obviously, the 33 bundle that you put together.
Yeah, that's still going on.
Yeah. I saw someone earlier saying it was out. I don't think that's true. I refreshed it a second ago. But the all in all, like, it was some of the best Fab I've ever played. It was some of the best opponents I've ever played against. It was an incredible tournament, and just getting to, I mean, I was close. So that's
close.
That's a good feeling, because you do feel like you can get there. I'm excited for ELO to update just to see where it lands. This is a heavily weighted tournament. I think it's going to be very good for my ELO. And my friend Shane, I played in that last round. He didn't have a PTI, so he was like, "This is how I'm going to Worlds."
Cool.
So he beat me. He made top 32. Prism Mike actually ended up finishing 20th.
Yeah, he did.
Incredible showing. He ended up on 10-4. Started the day at 6-1, and then went 4-3 on day 2. And super excited for him. Got the PTI, so he's going to be going to Worlds, which is awesome. I think it's a really good showing. And the tournament was phenomenal. I mean, I have a lot to say about the weekend. I have tons of notes, but obviously that's the tournament itself.
I just want to share with everybody, in case you're not seeing this, how hilarious
that's awesome.
This product is. Look at that. Took that this morning. So in honor of your top 33 finish, congrats, man. That's amazing. I think that's the most success that either of us have had at this level of competition ever.
This is definitely, I've done well at tournaments, big, world championships and stuff for games we've played. But the level of competition here,
unbelievable, right?
Is so high. And it's honestly just so, as a competitive person, it's such a fun experience.
Yeah.
To compete at that level, really. And with the team and all the practice and the experience of being there. And like, it was a phenomenal weekend across the board. That's why I said, like, if I get a PTI or I qualify for France, like, I can't not go. It's just too good. And when you're that close, right? When you feel that close, it's hard to think about missing an opportunity, because there's 2 Pro Tours and 1 World Championship each year, and so like, you got to take your shots.
You just get inspired to hit it.
Because the process was really fun. Like the Wolfpack, I love everyone on the team. That's a great group. Just preparing. Even now, we're preparing for Vegas, and we're like, it's a cool vibe. And like, the whole process and being at the event and like everything about it is just fantastic. Even losing, though, it's like some of the best games of my life were played this weekend.
Yeah, some real high level flesh and blood right there.
Yeah, and the just all the people coming up to say to express gratitude for all of our streams, all of our content. Just some really cool stories across the board. One of the there was one person who their first game of Flesh and Blood was our webcam league.
Oh, that's so great.
They came up to me with their friend that they had met through the webcam league, and they're now like best friends. And they were basically saying, like, met my best friend through the webcam.
That's amazing.
They've been traveling to college together. I remember Lorien specifically because of the name sticks out to me, like Lothlorien from Lord of the Rings. And her husband, he played Magic in the 90s and got burnt out on it. And then they got into Fab through our videos.
Yeah, I love it.
He was just like so grateful that like we reintroduced him to tabletop. And it was like just the constant of those kind of stories was really amazing. So if you came up and said something, thank you for expressing that. I took a lot of notes to share with the team this week. And if you didn't say anything because you didn't want to bother me, please feel free in the future. It is a total privilege that people care at all and were rooting for me, and all the messages I was getting on community and in our Discord channel. Astounding. Of course, Wolfpack for all the test games and stuff. Really proud of Mike. And none of that would have happened with all the games from everybody. It's just really incredible. And then Legend Story and Channel Fireball, I mean, it was a great event. I heard there were over 2,500 unique people. It was really insane. There was like 900 in the calling. It was just crazy events happening everywhere. The energy was high. People were playing all the way till the end of the bell on Sunday in the lobby.
Amazing.
I went to a couple hotel lobbies because we were like, some people were staying at different places. All the lobbies are just full of people playing Fab, like all weekend. Just
yeah,
really
man. I mean,
incredible.
that's amazing. That's what you want, right? Like this is the playing of the game is the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like so fun.
And then this is the finale. Sunday, top 8 of the Pro Tour, right? Sasha actually made it to the top 8. Playing Wizard on one side of the bracket, Alex on the other. 2 Kanos.
You love to see it.
We have the top 8
yeah,
graphic?
we do. I think
it's on the screen right now.
Top 8 bracket right there.
So Sasha made the cut. He ended up actually, unfortunately, losing the start of the show first round. It should be a good game for him. but apparently he got dunked on.
Wow.
I didn't get to see that game, but I was sad to see that result.
And then we also saw Brian. There, Brian, the top 8. So you weren't off on your picks. Did you see any spice from that list that you were?
The other one's a little more traditional. So Snapdragon Scalers, Lightning Press, and Twine Lightning. Some of the cards particularly that I'm not on. I'm a little blue heavier. They didn't have Arcane Barrier 3.
Wow. And beat Wizard. Mm-hmm. Now, is that
you
just fast?
Slap hard.
You're just fast.
Yeah, you just and hope they don't get.
Hope they don't have it.
Yep.
Yeah. Classic race.
But then this is the Sunday's happening. Sasha gets knocked out, and Brendan challenges the Wolfpack.
The Brendan. Brendan Patrick
challenges the Wolfpack to a team draft of Welcome to Wraith.
Really?
Yeah. So the way it works, 6 people. Every other seat is a different team. You do a draft, Welcome to Wraith, right? Standard draft.
Did the robot just pull up belittle?
Yeah, it did. We're talking about Brendan?
Is that actually programmed to pull up belittle?
That would be
we say
so
Brendan?
funny.
Whoever did that is a genius.
He's a little smaller than I would expect.
It's a good rivalry.
Yeah. So it challenged the Wolfpack to a Welcome to Wraith draft. So me, Ian, and Matt Coles played against Brendan, Hayden, and Luke, a friend of theirs. And the way it works is you draft, and then you get together afterwards, and you can deck build as a team. You can't share cards, but you can talk to each other about your deck and stuff, and also talk to other people about what you saw in the draft.
Okay.
So it's what might they have, that kind of stuff. And then
Brendan's story kind of sounds made up.
And then
I love it.
And then it's basically a round robin. So you play everyone on the other team. There's 9 total games that happen because each player is playing 3 times. And whichever team wins 5 games wins and keeps all the cards.
Yeah.
That's the old.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the old
classic.
Bet.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, it comes down to me and Hayden. Last round I'm playing against Hayden. Hayden's on Rhinar. I'm on Bravo, which is our old classic favorite heroes.
Yeah.
And it works out where each team has won 4 games. And this is the last game.
Oh my gosh, it's all happening.
This is it.
Bravo v. Rhinar for the title?
I will say I did play against Brendan. And he was the only ninja at our table, and I was the only guardian. So we both had pretty good decks. And I unceremoniously stomped on him.
Oh, yeah. Take that, Hayden.
Yeah. So
that's a twofer.
That was Brendan.
Or Brendan, excuse me. Take that,
so
Brendan.
They were playing against Hayden. And he's on Rhinar. I'm on Bravo. And notably, there were 3 Rhinars at the table. 2 were on their team.
Okay, so they were drafting themselves.
That's just a mistake. I don't know what you guys were doing. Didn't have a strategy coming in. My team didn't even talk about it, but I knew Matt is a Dory player.
Yeah, 100%.
Ian is either a Rhino or a Ninja player.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to pick Bravo.
You're going to pick Bravo, yeah.
So without even saying a word, that's how tight-knit the Wolfpack is.
That's right. It's Wolfpack,
we knew.
Yeah.
They don't have to talk. They just know. It's that intuition.
That's how wolves communicate. And then they also howl.
And so Ian was feeling bummed out because he lost all 3 of his games. He's on Rhinar. And there were 3 Rhinars. And I was like, dude, you were actually an MVP. Because
you took all the Rhinar cards.
You took all the Rhinar cards.
Yeah.
But it's me and Hayden playing a game. And I can tell, Hayden wants to win this game.
Hayden just loves being good at Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, of course
he feels like the kind of guy that's always playing to win no matter what.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but in I'm never going to let off the gas. I'm trying to
And I think once he found out this was the game, right? This is the game to decide who wins this thing.
Yeah.
Because he knew I'd be talking about it here on stream one way or another, win or lose. I wouldn't cover that up. But slowly but surely, there's this crowd that's building around this game. People watching, they want to see what's going on. They know it's Hayden versus me, and it was a really close game. It was unbelievably close. But I was able to snipe it. He had a big turn.
What a consolation prize!
He dominated, and I had Red Sigil in hand, which I knew was coming. Luckily I had it that turn though, because I didn't die and then I just killed him.
Nice.
But it was a super close game. It was super fun. But we played that. It was nice. We all got that out there. Wolfpack wins, except for in the main tournament where Sasha made the top 8. So who really won? I don't know. And then that night we went out, had some Los Tacos #1. The Arsenal Pass crew met up with us at our Los Tacos, so we broke some bread.
I'm so glad.
And then we hit. There's a bar. It's Cafe de.
Was Rob around?
What do you say?
Was Rob around?
Rob was around. I saw him once.
I heard a report that he just didn't show up to day 2.
Well, I saw him once and was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" We talked at the banquet. I never saw him again.
I hope he's doing all right.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened to him. But we went with we were trying to go to Death and Company. It's a speakeasy. It's really popular.
Yeah.
But the wait was gonna be 2 hours. So he was like, actually. and I wasn't there. This was Ian, but he recommended a bar around the corner. He's like, you're gonna see a hologram on the sidewalk. It's like, and there's gonna be a door. It doesn't look like it's a door that opens. Just push through there and go upstairs. And it's this upstairs bar, candlelit.
Oh.
It's like super killer. They specialize in, their most special drink's the Sazerac.
Oh, come on, Zach. You're killing me.
Dude, I ordered the Sazerac. Waiter comes up. It's like, well,
kill me.
What's the best drink you've got? That's what I want. He's like, I got you. And he comes up and he's like, who had the Sazerac? I was like, I guess that's me.
Yeah.
So they kind of make it at the table. And the part of it is in this like frosted skull that they pour out into the thing, and they spritz. You know,
you got the
in
absinthe.
cup.
Yeah.
And then it's just like this crazy, and there's steam coming off, and the glass is frosted, and like it was easily the best Sazerac I've ever had, like by a mile. Excellent. And Arsenal Pass joined us for that piece of the session, and just caught up.
That's
checked
great.
in and stuff.
I'm
you
glad.
know, that kind of thing. The rivalry is still real. I still very much want to crush Arsenal Pass every chance I get. But it was nice just to have a moment. And again, you know, like not let the game get in the way of real life kind of a thing, which I think is a key thing. Then we ended up at this, it's called Bua down the street. Matt had a friend that's from New York, Jen, and her boyfriend, Frankie. And they were just like the right dose of energy.
Perfect. I love that.
They're locals.
Injected, yeah.
Yeah, from New York. And so they met up with us. But let me tell you, another bar, I was like, what's the best thing you have? And he's like, we have a really good espresso martini. It's one of the best drinks in my entire life.
Really?
It was so
You know, most of the time, the
good.
espresso martini is kind of the like baseline. You know, it's like the Red Bull vodka of the.
Man, it was
It's
just
not
like,
exactly a craft.
it was kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I mean they're delightful.
It was
don't get me
delightful.
wrong. Yeah,
it was the perfect. And like they had the windows open, like the door, like the wall opened, you know, like this giant window. And the weather was great, and it was just like that was the perfect end to the trip. Lots of good times, fun stories. Everyone was having a good time. Then the next day happened. That's when I showered and I figured out the line.
Yeah.
And that's all I thought about all day.
Yeah.
Get to the airport. Got to have Shake Shack before you leave.
Real quick, Zachary Couchy, in Manhattan till Sunday, where can I find the Sazerac bar? Do you know what it's called?
I'm just going to type it in chat.
Sweet.
It's really close to Death and Company, which is really popular. I typed that in chat. Definitely go in the evening, and it's worth going. Patent Pending was also very much worth going to. Same with Los Tacos #1. If you've never been, that place is the bomb. But then I'm thinking about that play all day. Then we get to the airport, get on our plane, and there's crazy weather going on. A lot of people are getting stuck at airports.
Everyone's getting stuck in the airport. Yeah.
We got stuck on the plane.
Yeah.
3.5 hours.
Ugh. Just
before we even
thinking
took
about
off.
that Whisper the Oracle Yellow.
Yep.
Just sitting there.
Seriously. Number 33, just ruminating.
Staring into the back of an airplane seat,
Yeah.
thinking about how you misplayed it.
Yeah, we were this close. So I got home last night at 1:30 in the morning. I actually got home at 2. We got to the airport at 1:30. Then got up this morning and had an incredible meeting with the architects for 3.0.
Yeah. We did.
Couldn't miss that. I don't care how
Man,
much
that was
sleep I
looking
didn't
great,
have.
especially off the back of having visited some awesome places in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah.
Now you get to see, well, here's the revised plans for what we're wanting to do here in Towson. It's like, oh yeah, let's go. Love it.
But I will say, as you know, we're kind of joking around about 33rd and not making the PTI, not making the cut. Like, I think mentality and all this is really important because there were people that didn't make day 2 or didn't have like a great run. Matt was even feeling this way, 3-3-1. Then I think
And your brother Tim got day 2 in the calling.
he
too.
did make day 2 in the
6'2",
calling, yeah. And just, you know, I think a lot of people put a lot of expectations on them. And you asked earlier if I was getting nervous. And like, I'm not usually that nervous at tournaments or anything, but I was particularly calm here. I think mentality is just so critical. I could have so let that whole losing to Sasha and making a mistake and all that spiral my weekend.
Yeah.
Or even the stuff with Arsenal Pass could like blow up into the thing where you just like aren't interacting anymore and it's whatever. And it's like life's way too short. Weekend was great. Like I think the mentality is super critical, and for me, it's motivating. I got real close, and I just want to keep working at it, right? And trying to refine that skill and not make the same mistake next time. And I'm looking forward to Vegas. You're going to be there. Please say hello. And yeah, it's just a great weekend.
Well, speaking of Arsenal Pass in Vegas and Blitz, which is what we're now getting ready for, our friends over at Arsenal Pass and Zach's frenemies over at Arsenal Pass. If we can pull up the schedule, we'll see if Bryce 3.0 can get the schedule up there. We've got a very special treat in store next week because Zach's going to be gone. Where are you going? Are you doing something important?
So I'm going to Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so I leave on Monday, going to California.
Man, what a crazy trip for you.
Yeah. And that'll be super awesome. I love going to celebrations, so you'll be there, say hi. And then I'm actually taking the week after that off. It's been really busy, lots of traveling, lots of preparing for tournaments and stuff. So like just taking a second and breathing in the middle of the year to kind of reset before we go back into all this again.
Yeah, it's important. Pull up the schedule, look at the schedule. What am I supposed to say? Go get the schedule. Robot, go schedule me. Let's go to the schedule. Let's go to the schedule. I think that's it. Let's go to the schedule. I was told this earlier, and then I had promptly forgotten. But if the schedule doesn't come up, here's what you need to know. Next week,
it's not coming up.
Zach is gone. And you might say to yourself, Steven, you're going to take the week off? I would like to, yes. But duty calls.
That's right.
So on Monday, I'm going to be unboxing some Marvel Champions packs. New hero packs have come out, so that's relevant. But on Tuesday, Brendan Patrick is going to be joining me for some webcam
right
games
here on the
of
Covenant
Blitz,
channel?
right here on the live stream. I can't wait. Going to actually learn a little bit about Blitz, get kind of the scoop from Brendan on the format.
We're saying you turned the pops off.
I turned it back on, though. Yeah, look, I got the NDI layer. It's rolling. Brendan's coming on the stream. We're going to play some webcam games. He's going to teach me everything he knows about Blitz. And
maybe give his side of the draft story.
Give his side of the weekend, truly, in the draft story. How did his Pro Tour situation go?
He had a very different kind of weekend.
Yeah. How did, is this entire thing from Zach a complete waste of time? Like, we haven't heard Brendan's side of the entire saga yet.
It's a one-sided story, and there are two sides to every story.
I want Brendan on. I want to get his take on this. And then Wednesday, actually going to be doing some Ashes with Chaos Theory from the Ashes side of our Discord as well. Great player, great person. Going to come on there. We're going to build some Hope and Demona decks.
Nice. That's awesome.
So I'm gonna pass it around the infield, as they say, and get some folks onto the stream here. So love it. I can't wait. Brendan, I hope you're still out there. If you're listening, I'm looking forward to that very much. I need to know a lot about Blitz going into Vegas. It's a format I've neglected out of a sense of deep-seated disliking of it. But having played it now more, you know what I like about it? I don't have a sideboard.
It's easy.
And it's fast.
Yeah.
So I can see the appeal. I understand the appeal. But I'm also having to tech against the Rhinar turn 1 kill and the Kano turn 1 kill. And it's like, okay, well, what's the tech there? It's like, draw better.
That is one way to do it. I mean, team makes it nice, right? Because even if you get RNG'd and someone rolls high, your team doesn't.
Yeah.
So like that helps it a little bit. And a team event will be fun no matter what. And a world premiere and all that stuff.
And I get to experiment with Icelander, which is really cool because like I love Icelander. And now knowing that she's coming in CC makes me really excited to learn the young hero.
Kind of get prepped.
And learning the young hero for the world premiere is really important, I think. So like Icelander's on my radar right now. I think it is super fun to play her. She's so fun to play. Oh my gosh. So we got Blitz coming up. It's all Blitz.
Yeah, I think we're going to be doing the week after I get back. Previously on the schedule before I was gone was back-to-back Monday, Tuesday Blitz prep before we go to Vegas.
Yeah, that's right.
That probably will happen. We'll see.
We could probably get 10 Blitz games in a couple hours.
Easy.
Maybe 1 hour.
Maybe in like 5 minutes.
We could just start jamming. Brendan's saying Steven's our third for Vegas. I like to leave that door open. You know
how close you guys are because he doesn't spell your name right.
Yeah, I'll put Zach on alert here. I could always just switch sides, Hey, so it'll keep you hungry.
You know what they say? Don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, we said we were going to go over the Briar deck. I think we're done here. I think we've had enough to chat. Zach's exhausted. So maybe we come back next time you're on and we'll talk about the Briar deck.
I also probably will just
It's just a Briar deck.
I'll just post. It's not. I'll post post it. I'll try to post the list.
Okay, just post the list. Come to the Discord. Post in the Discord. You got to be in the Discord to see the list. Come to the Discord.
There you go.
Here's some marketing for you.
And again, huge shout out to Legend Story Studios for making this happen.
It was amazing.
This is crazy. Channel Fireball. I went to the indie calling that was Star City Games. I saw some people complaining about the event this weekend, but from my perspective, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The way it was run, the covers, the social, the timing of stuff, and obviously they're going to take the Pro Tour piece very seriously.
Yeah.
But also getting to meet James was really cool, and the team from Legend Story, they were having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
He talked right before I forgot to mention this, right before the Pro Tour started and right before the calling started. It was really cool. It obviously means a lot to him.
He cares a ton, man.
Yeah.
That means everything.
Everyone that came up and said something, everyone that continues to buy stuff from us, the 33 bundle on the site.
The 33 bundle
if
is
you want
amazing.
that.
Yeah, we're selling some of those. That's wicked.
Also, subscriptions are open for Uprising. If you want to get on that, the exclusive promo, the window for that's going to be closed in the not so distant future. But huge shout out to everyone that allows us to do all this. Of course, the Wolfpack for all the games and all the reps. And looking forward to Vegas. I mean, literally, we were waiting in the airport and playing Fab.
Yeah.
After a full weekend. It's like, we're still ready to go for some more.
That's so cool. Yeah, Blitz coming up, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to get in the grinder. So let's play some games.
Game on.
Let's get better. All right, everybody. Hey, take care. Thank you so much again. Zach said it all. Booster Box subscribers really are a big part of why we're here, able to do this every week. So we appreciate it. The top tier 3 bundle. It's amazing. You're all great. We'll see you at an event soon. Go to Vegas. Take care.